just so glad that like everyone is just so much more handsome and knowledgeable than me. It's like I'm thankfully to all of that. We'll just sit here and
we'll put on every day last week.
Shut up, Neil. We'll put on the bangers here, and we'll leave the recording
100K right now
to the professionals. There goes Bitcoin right now
100K.
through 100. But I think didn't you say we already did that once there? IBIT 57 and change right now.
Yeah.
So here goes Bitcoin. Here's a 15-minute chart, but we just do get that break. So let's go over to a 1-minute chart and see. Yeah, no, I think that's right. That might have been the first one. It may have broken. I mean, again, just depending on where you're looking. I think this is Bitstamp, but Coinbase. My bad. I said Bitstamp last time too, and it was Coinbase. But there it is, right there. There's 100. It looks like we may have done it back at 150, like five minutes ago. But anyways, at the end of the day, bouncing around there, it gets up to 103. So $100,300 right there on that upside play for cryptos. So yeah, fading out a little bit there, Neil, but good call on that one as we come right back up and through. I'm only one position long Google. We've been getting out of that. You could probably, there's IBIT. Here's the position right here. Again, like this is all we've been doing. It's going to be another green name and pretty well traded there. Google getting more out here as it drips around. But yeah. I don't know, man. Everything that's been happening. Like I said to Neil, I said maybe the NASDAQ, I more feel like the ES has a better chance of getting positive, but NASDAQ on a nice move higher right now. Trend, that's why I was saying about Joe there. It was funny because you did the Playmaker poll. And I mean, we always kind of get that long feel. And so far here this afternoon, it is a pretty long feel. I mean, the nice bounce there off the 50-period moving average, taking out day's high just five minutes ago. Now the retracement's coming back.
Oh, that was the Bitcoin.
Short-lived, but at the end of the day, still a nice little move higher for now on the NASDAQ and for now on Google. But yeah, see, you're still on the tariff plays over there.
Well, no, just GM, but
good.
Like this IBIT, like we just can't hold above 100,000. Like we're okay. There we go. We just
have nice things.
We just broke over it again. I'd swear, and I could be wrong about this. I would. You gonna sing that song?
Moon and the sun.
All for one.
And your eyes.
Oh my goodness.
I'll be there.
Yo, I think I hosted my junior high
A minor
junior high talent show. Was it that song? It might have been. Anyways, I emceed that, and it was like we had like a group that wanted to be R&B singers, and I remember I made some crack about. I think it was that song, or it might have been like Shy or something along those lines. But we can't hold 100,000. It's frustrating. But it's bothering me that I would swear that 100K on Bitcoin was underneath IBIT 57. But maybe I was wrong about that. But obviously, $57 even right now is about as close to 100,000 as you're going to get. So what I would like to happen is for this thing to resolve. Like either we hold above and let's break it away from 107. 100,057 on IBIT. Or I guess we'll get like some kind of a reversion play. Like if it fails, like kind of like this, like if it fails 100K, just maybe look for a quick little like reversion short on IBIT. I wanted it to be a long, but yeah, it doesn't look like it wants to do it. All for one, I haven't heard that in forever. You know what's crazy about that? I saw an interview with them all the time. That was Boys to Men. Yeah. And Boys to Men always get, okay, can you sing that song, I Swear? Because nobody knows who All for One is. Yeah. That group had one hit. It's like, come on, man. Boys to Men had everything. You can't do that to those.
No, they didn't have Poison because that's my guy Belle Biv DeVoe.
BBD.
Now you
Boys
know.
To Men, ABC,
BBD.
They were all
East
like,
fam.
yeah. That was like the jam back in the 90s. But anyways,
right.
Bitcoin, do it. Do it or don't do it.
Yeah, I mean.
Do it or don't do it. Like either hold above or let's revert
it's
this
fine.
move.
I mean, 99.9 right now. Yeah, let's see what happens right now with Bitcoin. Should be a good one. All right, look, there's the more important number right there, right in front of your face, as we get ready to rock and roll and hopefully celebrate what will be 500,000. And we may or may not have champagne. We may or may not have cheese. We may or may not have a charcuterie board.
Charcuterie? I'm down with that. Oh, what happened to GM just now? Yeah. Oh, GM just broke 40. Yeah,
Unfortunately, it's probably more like the may not, but that would be really fun if we got that. So let's we'll keep checking that board there and see how close we can get to 500,000. I mean, we could do it today. I mean, if everybody watching is not a member, go over there. It's completely free. Just go to the YouTube here. Look, I'll show you how to do it. It's actually pretty simple. This would be bad if I'm not subscribed, but I'm pretty sure I am. So here we go. We just go over here. You go to Trader TV Live. You just click on, oh, boom. There you go. What? There we go. I'm going to unsubscribe just to show everybody this. Just for, okay, so they see, oh man, now I'm not subscribed. I can't be in the chat, right? So, all right, so now I want to be in the chat because if I'm not in the chat, I'm definitely missing out. So I go subscribe right there and bing, and you get lights up like that, and now I feel really good. And the thing is that this is an unproven study, but if you do that, then your next trade, this only works if you've never been subscribed before. So if you go over there, there's more than a 50-50 chance that your next trade will be a winning trade. If you do that. It's about 50-50. Depends which way, long or short, but science.
Yeah, I'm putting lotion. When it gets cold, I get a little ashy Larry, all right? So Fabian done caught me. Let's go to Sharif over there.
I mean,
you were talking, I'm like, it's gotta be.
My daughter has a skincare routine too, so don't worry about it.
Oh man, Neil's killing me. All right, guys, welcome to the Afternoon Rundown, the show where you decide what we talk about every afternoon. The boys are locked and loaded. They're ready to look at the tickers as decided by you, but their only way to decide those tickers is to join Joe and I during How to Trade during the midday and get into the chat and vote for your favorite ticker every day. You gotta be a member though in order to engage in the chat. Here's a look at the triple Qs. We are down on the all four major averages are red today. The Qs, the NQ down about 2/3% with the ES, the S&P, about 0.5%, a little bit higher than that last time I looked. The Dow faring the best out of them all, down 0.14, and the Russell 2000 small caps faring the worst, down over 1%, 1.15 last time I checked. Here's a look at NVIDIA, guys. I don't know. I kind of perceive this to be possibly an inverse head and shoulders, ready to break out that level, that double top, as most of these microchip names are selling off as a result of the newly instituted tariffs by Donald Trump on Mexico, China, and Canada.
Oh, Canada.
Oh.
Yeah, of course.
Say.
No, but they're gone, aren't they? Well, they're paused.
With the chips?
No. The
tariffs?
Well, of course, the moving 10,000 troops to the border, I believe it was.
Mexico.
Was going to cause a potential pause, although I don't think Trump immediately was like kind of walking that back. But we'll see how it all plays out. NVIDIA, I'll get there in a quick little second, but there we go. I'll hit save there. Hit save. Now I've hit save. Mm-hmm. So there's that. It's about 100,000 on Bitcoin at 57. It's not exactly, but the trend line is broken, and we'll give it to just over 57. If I look up and it's busting 100K, I mean, I know we're going to be out. Let's play the reversion there. NVIDIA, NVDA, not an S at the end, Neil. Look at this.
You could put the S on it.
Well, then the problem
is that the 3 times, or what is it?
No, I think that actually doesn't exist.
NVDAS. No, I think it does. NVDA, L and S.
Oh, it's L and S. Okay, good.
Yeah.
So I could have hit that and it would have been fine.
Nope, you're right.
No, NVIDIA for myself was a 115 short and then a VWAP long. And if we had just stuck with the 115 level, that was the gold zone. When it broke away, and I said this is the lesson of the day, when it broke away, I needed to be long almost immediately above that price, and then it held the higher low, did eventually take it at 17, but then tried it twice here off the 116 level, and I'm kind of feeling like my black chart VWAP would have been off, because this never actually broke VWAP. And that's one thing you should always do. Ensure that your settings are always the same on all of your charts, because I would swear on one of my charts VWAP broke there, but I like to strengthen NVIDIA over this 115 level. Part of the reason is you go back to last week's resistance and all the way back to the October lows, which Michael mentioned and was talking about. NVIDIA holding now above that for a bit of a reversal pattern. So while it was breaking down, like the short, I guess I got to put my 118 breakout. I left my 118 breakout in for a long time and eventually canceled when we got down to 116. That's what we left you with, and it looks like we're going to be taking that 118 break again. It never got there. Like that 17 got to like 90 and never broke 118. So let's throw that one back in. All things come to the breakout once again, NVIDIA.
Yeah, NVIDIA's a great stock there. The only one that I looked at today was we just stuck with the plan there. We went with AMD. We liked the short. It didn't get up to 116, 117. So instead, we just sort of play that same level, 114, 115. Nice break higher there on AMD. It was a good short for us early, for sure. Boom, boom, boom. And then we started feeling waves down here. We even mentioned it there. That's where we cover like a bunch of covers. And then we don't even go short again at the same level of 114. We let it get back up to 114.50, and then it just puked all over itself for some reason and fell down $1. Then we went back in and out again right there. So AMD a top stock for me today, despite only going short. But that was a great one at 115. So I think we just got to level down a little bit and talk about 115 short. But I'm not going short right now anyways. I'm not going short anything. So the market is too strong. I think there's a good chance this thing goes green. So I'm just going to be watching this market. Any pullbacks into the 50-period moving average, I think I like the long. And NVIDIA, it's not quite like Pikachu. Like I don't choose you yet. But at some point though, NVIDIA, I choose you, because we're going to break right there that high. And you want to be short? Rhetorical question, but I don't think anybody wants to be short against that high of the day. And if you are, you're probably punching out, and then let alone if that market actually gets going there. And, you know, look, not to think that Trump blows with the wind here or anything like that, but, you know, he's talking about CEOs, he's talking about this, talking about that. We know he's met with Jensen. They've been that invite to the White House and this and that. There's just a lot of talk all the time about everything. So, like, at any point, NVIDIA could really, really take off. As long as you have stop orders, I really feel pretty comfortable with a trade in NVIDIA, especially breaking that top. Like, if you break that top, what you're going to do right now, again, it's about $1.50 because you have to wait for this, which is why I'm not super excited about it. Let's just see what winds up happening. We're long right now Google, and we'll get to that, but I'm more excited about the longs and the shorts right now in the chip space. So we'll, I know, Bob, Palantir's a monster. We're going to get to that very, very soon. We're very, very happy with Palantir. We do not have our Palantir investor hat on, but maybe we should put it right on.
It's an interesting choice.
We don't want to jinx it.
Oh, that's why.
Well, no, that's not why.
No, I mean, it's an interesting choice.
I went with the gray and the white. I got the black, I got the black pants on.
NHL action.
Just a little bit of NHL action going on here. The Maple Leafs, I don't know. Good win there on Saturday. They played Edmonton Oilers. It's just so hilarious. There we go, Joe. I know Joe's there. Everybody Edmonton's so upset because we went into their barn and they had to change their start time of their game because here in Toronto we're 2 hours the other way. So they had to play at 5 in the afternoon so that we could watch it at 7.
Yeah, but I mean, come on.
But yeah, we're the
bigger market.
We're the big market. They do it in baseball too. Like the Yankees will get the certain games, obviously, of the night game.
Well, I mean, I deal with it with the Buffalo Bills. Like, it's just the same thing.
Yeah, it's a smaller market.
Like, when are we ever getting the prime time games? Like, not very often. 118 is going to break.
Except for when you play like KC, What do you mean? You guys got huge prime time games. You got all the Sunday night games. You got like 4 or 5 Sunday night games in a row. These Bills fans, man, are always looking for something. Hey, Joe, you notice that? I mean, I'm a Bills fan too.
I'm still a little sore.
Is it that soon? I mean, 2 weeks.
Super Bowl hasn't even been played yet.
2 weeks ago.
I don't know.
I'm spoiled. I've seen 2 Super Bowls in my life for the Packers. So
no, I saw 4 in a row. So
no, Super Bowl. Yeah, you saw 4 in a row Super Bowl games. My bad. Super Bowl wins. We got a dot on Neil's face. No. What? Oh, he wiped it off? It's on your screen. I don't say anything on our screen.
What are you talking about?
Nah, Joe's just hyperventilating, hallucinating.
No, Joe's saying there's something on like the red dot. Someone's trying to take me out.
Let me guess. Your next investment's MindMed over there? Okay. All right, let's go over. Don't worry about it, Neil.
Dude, it's the Palantir drones trying to take me out.
Take you out. All right.
I like drones, Neil. Guys, all right, Tesla right now, 5% negative off the lows. Tough day today for Tesla. We were aggressively high to start the day on Friday, then took it all back. Here are the headlines. So President Trump was asked about possible conflicts of interest with Elon Musk. Just gave a very straightforward answer. We won't let him do it. With respect to the Model Y, it's manufactured in the United States, exported to Canada. That could be on, the chopping block right now as the trade war between the two countries kicks into high gear. So Elon Musk looking to, supply Canada with tariff-free cars. He's talking about bringing them in from Berlin, guys. The Model Y could stop coming in from the States and come in from Europe, believe it or not.
Europe?
I mean, remember, he is going to pretty soon tariff the EU.
Well, he said he's going
hilarious
to
as well.
so I believe it.
I'm getting out some more Google right here as we approach the 50-period moving average. We're just going to stick to with the plan right now. We'll talk to Google in a little bit. So Tesla was my number one stock today, and it was my number one trade idea of the day. It was to go short on Tesla, so your boy went short on Tesla. It's written right here on the sticky note. The number one trade idea for me today was to go short on Tesla. It's my number one P&L name because we did that. And there it is. We just kept going short underneath, view up. It worked until it didn't. Boom goes the dynamite. See you later, Tesla. Now it's back up to the upside. You get these moves all the time off the open, right? I mean, we've lost on these trades just as much as we've won. But this one, again, we've just been protecting. Things have been working out for us. We've talked about how this is kind of like pretty much a dream market for traders right now with you get a lot of moves right here off of big levels and boom goes to the dynamite. If you can catch one on the right side of it, you're laughing. So that was a big trade there. This was a $1 worth of risk. We wound up taking 11 on that. So that's a pretty big one. We even talked about this when our stop order went in, it was right there at view up. It does come back upside and then goes. Now the thing about it, look where it stopped, 375. So it is a good thing, I guess, that we looked this up because we went back here and we said, where can the old stock stop? And if you look right here, looks like we might have found a spot right there, 375. So this just goes back to the 29th, a couple days ago, and that was that exact bottom. So we got there today, we took a piece out, it tried to get back in, and then straight up to the upside. So right now, looking for shorts, I think
Short. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm not short now. I mean, I could still look for a short. We're long Google, so we're 80 cents in the money on Google's P&L number 2 today. So we'll get to that in a minute. But at the end of the day, I don't think we go short until not just where this 200 period is, but I don't think we get much again until the same levels that I thought before, like 96, 97, 98. You know, or you just short in front of 390 and get out immediately. I just feel like this whole gap could fill. Again, I think I said when the NASDAQ was down 0.57 that there's a chance this thing gets positive today. So we've been holding Google. There it goes, man. We talked about it down here. It's a nice move up. Yeah, pretty happy with the way this market's performing here in the afternoon. I'd say Tesla's a long at some point. I'd rather play dips right now.
Yeah, the 50 period on the daily got, what's the word? Waxed, rinsed, smoked, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. But if we get back to that, I think maybe there could be a little something there. But I didn't trade Tesla today. It was all Sean's banger. But I will point out one thing, and it's Randy's not here today, so usually I would have already said this. But don't look now. Rivian, you just did it again. This is hugging, and I'm talking about hugging it like, you know, like my daughter does if she has a nightmare or whatever, hugging daddy. Like, it's look at this 200 period, and we just did a huge rejection underneath. Knock on wood, because closing above it would require holding essentially these highs. But Rivian, if it breaks out this top, that's literally the 200 period holding and breaking out the high. Just one quick note, you guys all saw NVIDIA break that 118 to the upside, and it got about 118.40-ish, and then ran into some resistance trying to break this trend. If it loses 118 here, like it's kind of trend in, trend out. It's already broken this stiff trend up. So like to me, if it gets down to 118, it's really broken that trend line. And usually that would be an out for me. So I'm not going to go short, but I am going to cover it if we can't hold on. Because 117 also looks pretty good on any kind of a dip buy. But let's talk about the earnings name of the hour. Well, of the next 2 hours.
Thank you, Chef Joe.
Palantir, boys, the next one here, expected to report after the bell. Make sure you're hanging out with us after the close with Neil and Adair. They're going to have that on the market recap show. Should be definitely an interesting one. What a recovery, though, guys. We were gapping down aggressively overnight on Blue Ocean. Last night I was looking at Palantir, was decidedly negative. Now we are 5% in the clear, and we're really close to Friday's highs. Here's what the street's expecting. We're looking for EPS of 11 pennies on revenue of $775.91 million. They've beaten earnings 8 out of the last 10 times, so keep your eye out on that. And here's what the market is expecting in terms of volatility. If we can move on to the next screen, Mr. Remote. Come on, there you go. Okay. Well, you went too far there. There we go. So expecting Palantir to expected moves about 14%. As you can see there, last time the move was 23.5% to the high side. So definitely a volatile mover. And guys, that conference call, the all-important conference call, starts at 5 o'clock.
All right. So look, Palantir, has caught a lot of people that didn't believe in it, and they are, if this print comes anywhere north of what's expected, this thing is, in my opinion, just going to explode, and I'll tell you why. So this is the thing. When you get up here like this and then make that move back in, you get some traders that start to go short off of past highs, especially when you're talking about a stock that since its August lows is up 4x, you know, so 400% since August, right? So you're going to get some traders that are caught right here. So what happens is they go short, then it just absolutely tanks, and that's great. Okay, great for them. Did they cover? I mean, I don't know. We heard that there's a lot of insider selling. We know Kathy Wood, for some reason, sells as this is happening, then buys as this is happening. So I don't know what's going on there. But at the end of the day, this is another area where I believe traders would be putting on shorts again, trying to short this $80 and see what winds up happening. Well, that's back-to-back days now where the market hasn't been the greatest, and Palantir gives the middle finger to the market. So people that have been shorting this name are going to get potentially hurt pretty bad here if that print comes a little bit better than expected. I feel like this does blast higher. If it gets that 11% implied move, then you're going to be up to $100, and then that's a problem again. So this is a very much a cult stock, and we know what happens when that happens. Not only you're going to get some people running for the hills with options, but this stock could absolutely blow up, and you get the hold of the 50-period moving average. Like, this looks pretty clean. There's not going to be too many charts that look better than this heading into earnings. And I know I'm long Palantir, and you guys, it's not like I'm just long right now. I mean, this thing could drop down 20%, and I think it'll just be a buying opportunity. So at the end of the day, this looks real healthy. We talked about the way Meta looks and all that stuff. This is breaking higher as well. I think it's a good stock, and I think it's one that you got to be aware of. Let me look at the short float here. What was it, 11% or so? I mean, you have to imagine something.
Is that high?
Let me check. I don't know. I mean, it's always something. Right here, go to overview. Yeah, so right on here we have 4% or so. So again, for an S&P name, for a NASDAQ name, that's going to be a lot of short float. It's going to get spicy if it beats. So I think that you're probably paying too much to play that to the short side. I just really think that that number could be really exciting there. Obviously, it's up. There has to be other people thinking the same way. Play off the 200 period, play off VWAP. I don't think I'll be touching it today, but I'm definitely excited for the report. I mean, Palantir is going to go out today ahead of their report, like Sharif just said, 7 straight, and it's at all-time highs. So, I mean, I think you're happy with the performance of it. Even if it pulls back 10%, it's just kind of like where it was last Thursday.
Well, the one thing I've made a determination on is if there's something crazy with Palantir in the other direction, I'm probably going to cover Snowflake, which I own. It was more of a trade thing. Look, if Palantir doesn't blow out, then it's an 85 double top, and it'll make me get out of. Well, I mean, Snowflake was meant to be a trade anyways off of the 50-period hold. But just very quickly before I make one more thought about Palantir, usually I would have probably maybe trailed out a little bit closer to the trend line, but I gave it to 118 when we broke in on NVIDIA, so it never really broke with the $0.50 there. But we did have a break-even stop on NVIDIA. Maybe 117 will come back in. I like the stair step to the upside. The market's still pressing highs, but the breakout kind of gave you a little bit of a push. It got all the way down to 117.74 as it's starting to come back in there. But just one last on Palantir. This double top, I know there's probably going to be a lot of, I don't know whether you trade in the aftermarket or whatnot, but there's probably going to be a few people looking for these breakouts. Obviously, trading in the aftermarket is pretty dangerous, no question about it. But I do suspect there's going to be some squeezing if you break that 85. You just never, if you trade that aftermarket, just be careful with it for sure. But it's a very appealing double top there, that all-time high double top.
It's a nice effect, Fabian. I like that. That was really nice. Great recovery today for Google, guys, essentially filling the gap onto the close there on Friday. Still down on the day, but marginally really outperforming the majority of the other Mag 7. 0.59 negative. This one reporting after the bell tomorrow. Make sure to catch that with Sean and Ondera on the Market Recap Show. And here's what we're expecting. We're looking for $2.13 in earnings, EPS on revenue of $96.5 billion. The stock's already up 41% in the last 52 weeks. And here we go. This is what we're looking at in terms of expectations. A 6%, 6.5% expected move tomorrow on Google. Last time around, we got about almost a 3% move, boys. Make sure to make, if you're invested in this name or if you're swinging, the earnings call starts at 4:30.
Hive Digital Technologies, NASDAQ symbol HIVE, is pioneering the digital transformation through sustainable AI solutions and Bitcoin mining, a global leader in cutting-edge data center operations. With over 2,700 Bitcoin on their balance sheet, Hive consistently tops the industry in Bitcoin mined per exahash and is redefining the future by powering the world's most transformative technologies with efficient green and clean energy. Learn more by following them at Hive Digital or at hivedigitaltech.com. Sign up for the newsletter for more updates and find out what's going on with Hive. We've had them on the show a couple of times. HIVE, also on the Venture and on the NASDAQ. All right, so you know, trading is about money and about learning and about getting better and about sticking to the plan and so on and so forth. So this trade, again, if you're following me, we took this trade together. This was just as it was breaking 203. It broke and it didn't do anything, and we were ready for that. We are not, and even as we took this trade, we said breakout trades. Right now, unless it is going to be either on earnings or something breaking like, I don't know, just with excitement, like an NVIDIA just ripping. We'll talk about these different examples. But this Google was just a take of 203. We had been here before, obviously. It's not like it was all-time high or anything like that. I thought this market wanted to go. You bounced off the 200, you got going. We bounced around there. We took this level. Realistically, this was probably, 202.50 or so right there. That break was the one to take. But we take it at 203, and then this happens. It just falls all the way back into the 50 period, in which we were very, very comfortable taking more shares. And when we did, that's when hit it. Traders unite, because other traders would stop out. Like, we had planned for this to happen. I think that's what you have to focus on. Where's the plan? What the shares are you doing? Can you handle moves downside? We could handle a 40-cent move down. Can you handle the truth? You can't handle the shares. If you can handle the shares, then this is what happens. And you're rewarded for it. Then it comes back in. Then we actually went swimming here. Come back in, all right? And be like, all right. We didn't get out as much as we wanted to. If we were here, we probably would have got some out there. Comes back in, boom, same levels, rebuy the same dip level again, right? It holds, boom, boom, boom. And now we're starting to get some more out. So again, Tesla will be P&L 1. Google will be P&L 2 right there. We don't have any red marks. And I'm going to keep talking about that, and regardless, I don't know if it's whatever it is, but Google today seems to be a good stock. We'll watch it for tomorrow. I like the name. It's a big holding of mine, but today we decided to go long. If it does not break these levels, though, like, this could easily turn out to be that short. I mean, you got to wait for earnings. Tomorrow will be what tomorrow is. But this is, again, right there at the highs. We talk about Palantir. Palantir goes down, touches, and just rips right off of it. Kind of same thing for Google. It likes this 50-period moving average. Tries it, bounce. So this, to me, is looking, again, I don't think it's going to have as much oomph behind it as Palantir, but this name breaks higher too, man. 203, 204, PLTR, and Google, both charts looking absolutely fantastic. So there it goes, man. Two of those names on there so far are P&L 1s and 2s. And then we'll get to Neil's IBIT trade after this.
Yeah, I didn't trade any Google, but it's not adjacent to it, but I'm only going to mention this because it is trying to go one more time, and that's going to be this 13 and Rigetti. So Rigetti, we like Rigetti off 12. It held 12. It held a higher low off of VWAP as well, and now wants to barcode and consolidate on this nice little, can we come to my chart just quickly? Nice little consolidation, bull flag, whatever you would like to call it, in front of Friday support. all day long resistance at the $13 level. So it's trying to hold it and break it back out on RGTI. If it gets to VWAP, I like it, but also if it breaks a little bit higher, then we want to see if we can grab that as well. Sorry, I just heard NNE in the news, but it might not be moving at all. Oh no, NNE is breaking through the highs. Yeah, some of these names, Ockel's probably going as well, but yeah, got to pay attention to, I think, some of those other runners that we saw in Quantum. They're pretty strong today in the rebound. Other runners in nuclear, as we're also seeing, like NNE breaking the highs. Hopefully SMR is doing the same thing.
All right, guys, last on the list here, IBIT or Bitcoin. What a recovery, guys, off the lows. We're almost going to fill that gap, still marginally lower, about 0.75%. Here's the main headline, though. Donald Trump signing an executive order to create a sovereign wealth fund for crypto. We'll have to wait and see whether this gets challenged in court, whether he can do it by way of EO, guys, or we got to go through that legislative branch.
I didn't know that it was specifically for crypto. One of the rumors is that they could even buy TikTok with this thing. So, they need somewhere to hold it if they did a deal where somebody gets to buy TikTok and then you've got to let the government have a piece of it, then a sovereign wealth fund would make a lot of sense. But ultimately for Bitcoin, they got to hold it somewhere. I thought it was going to be the treasury, but if it's a sovereign wealth fund, it's basically the same thing. It's all about the cascade effect that I think you're going to get. If they do it, then everyone else has to do it because the U.S. is going to be the leader, and there's only so much out there. So long term, I mean, I'm buy and hold. I've never sold Bitcoin at any point. Well, I shouldn't say that. In my TFSA, and that I've never sold it. I've made some moves in Coinbase here and there, just having fun in that account when they came to IPO. But at the end of the day, I'm think long and strong on Bitcoin. Just obviously, just very quickly, come to my chart. We just held that 100. So when you have rules, stick to your rules. There was one, it's 57 on IBIT. So it broke underneath, grabbed the short. It did not hold very long. We're risking about like 15 pennies. VWAP, I don't think I would have held it to VWAP. I'm looking here to there. So the most you're ever going to get is like 50 to 60 first area, and then like that dollar move. But now you're holding the other side of the trend, like the prior trend line of best fit is now turning into support on Bitcoin. And when that happens, oddly enough, Palantir did something similar earlier today, and then you saw what happened to Palantir, where it tried to break the trend, and then all of a sudden held as support the entire way in the afternoon. Looks like a pretty strong one. Barry, when did I start accumulating Bitcoin? In earnest, like the largest purchase I made was, I have to remember, I forget exactly when the ETF launched in Canada, the purpose. Like whenever that was, that's when I started like the largest amount of my accumulation in my portfolio. It's about like 6.5% of my holdings are in Bitcoin.
What's up, Tony? Yeah, thanks for the love, man. That Tesla trade was bang-a-rific. Yeah, so we'll be, Neil just went over the IBIT trade, obviously, there. I said I'm not going short anything, so I'm not going short IBIT, that's for sure. Yeah, like, I mean, just breaking higher. Look at the 50-period moving average. And again, Neil's mentioning different styles. Yeah, I mean, that's, for me, this would have always been a long. Just look at it, hold the 50-period right now. Like I said, it's trying to take this high out. We've been here before. I mean, obviously, we're just breaking through 100 right now. We've got as high as that 108, 109. Bitcoin has a lot more room to run. It was a very scary moment earlier on today. I had the market on buy order for the S&P off the open. That worked out swimmingly. And right now, same thing would have been true for Bitcoin. So we've always talked about the relationship between crypto and the NASDAQ and crypto in the market, and it seems to be stronger than ever, in my opinion. As the market rebounds, and so does Bitcoin. Bitcoin right now at the high of the day. NASDAQ, I know NASDAQ is faded just a little bit right there, but NASDAQ at the high of the day as well. So yeah, I mean, that relationship just continues to be true. So I'm going to continue to get my sort of spidey senses going here on that. And for me, it's not going to be too many shorts unless we really get going. I mean, we said we would look at the Qs a little bit here. I will still look at TQ as well. So triple Qs will be very similar levels. Like we still got to wait for them to come through. It's just triple the move. So these lines should be equated for that too, but this is the NASDAQ. So we still have up here 524. You still got to break through there on the triple Qs. So 525 that to me is like the next area to short. Now they're still $4 away from that. We could get to that pretty soon. And if we do, man, I mean, this Google trade will be great. And then I think we can flip into the short. So we'll have to see if we can get something up here. We'll wait for the cues. We'll keep it on our watch. If you guys are on that, pay attention to like 524, 523 there for the triple Qs. And if I actually just switch this over right now to something that I'll actually trade, I'm only going to use the Qs because I know there's a lot of you that are looking at options and things like that, and you'll probably be on the Qs rather than the TQQs. But if you are a trader, it's the same level. So up here, $84. If we can get to that, it would be a big move, but we started the day down here at 78. You're now up $3. So if we do turn green, I guess that's close to being green, right? So a little bit about a buck higher than that. That's where I think you can start the short. So we'll see. And then again, with it being earnings season, earnings are still going to lead the way, no matter what we think about Trump and all these tariffs. If we can have a big day tomorrow for some of those names, they'll help lift everything. Like Google can save the day. Palantir will help a little bit with some of the AI worries, but they're in an island by themselves with their software and everything and the integration they can do. They can take all of the data that you have and implement it into a AI foundry and into a system that can assess the data that you're looking at and spit out whatever inputs you're looking for in a secure fashion. And that's part of it too, is they've got that stamp there from the White House for the security of their data and their programs. So that's big. We talked about them getting another contract. Well, I heard something about, I don't know if it was Joe or someone, Ecuador or El Salvador or...
It was...
It doesn't matter. Insert country here, but I think Palantir is going to be a big one there. You mentioned some nuclear names, and you mentioned Nano, right? NNE.
NNE's breaking SMRs.
Yeah, I was going to say SMRs at the
I'm kind of looking at that. So NNE with that, it was Nano Nuclear that broke out the high of the day like 5 minutes ago, or whatever the heck it was, like 5-10 minutes ago, right in there. And then I did pull up SMR, which, spoiler alert, I think we both own SMR. Here, and it has a very distinct double top. Nice little run into that double top. I kind of like this. I like this for an afternoon break. Obviously, it's holding pretty well there. And there was a question. Someone asked when I started accumulating Bitcoin. I did have some. Look, I held Bitcoin before 2021, but I didn't really start adding to it until like 21. It was 2021 when the Purpose ETF came out, and then I was like dollar cost averaging for an entire year into Bitcoin. And I just estimated 6, and I don't know if it's like, it could be 6%, it could be 7%. I'd have to double check and do some math. The other thing about SMR that I like going on here is going to be, and Palantir did this too, like you had this little head and shoulders, which probably got a lot of people short in here, right? Like there's your gap down, you're short to there, and it's been holding out. So if you break out this top, you've got all this room to the upside. It's also, they're all like 18% short floats, by the way, like all these, nuclear names like SMR, in and around that range. We'll go to Adara, but I wanted to make one more note because Walmart is close to 100. So Walmart has an outside chance of getting up to 100 today, which would be another fresh all-time high. That's also going to be on watch. Adara?
A couple things. For one, I looked earlier, I looked again now. I have zero evidence of any kind of Palantir Ecuador-related deal. So I'm not seeing anything on that. The other thing here is the sovereign wealth fund talks. Here's BTC USD, of course, it's above 100,000. So from what I'm seeing here, this is actually more of a catalyst related to TikTok. Donald Trump did not mention Bitcoin or crypto at all when signing this executive order. However, he did say that it might be used to purchase TikTok. We know Donald Trump has been wanting this purchase of TikTok here for the US. He's floated a couple names around, and apparently he's talked to some people. So Donald Trump's, this sovereign wealth fund does not seem to have anything, at least as of right now, on its face to do with crypto, and it actually seems almost entirely having to do with the purchase of TikTok. Again, if there's anything else, I will let you guys know, but there is no mention of crypto here by Donald Trump or by any reports when we're talking the sovereign wealth fund as it currently stands, guys. Back to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Adara. And I think, again, the ultimate thing is, if they do create one, what do you expect is going to be in it? Like if they don't have a reserve in the treasury and you're going to be pro crypto, sometimes I feel like you just connect the dots, right? So I get it. You're talking up your book a little bit to say bullish on BTC or bullish on Bitcoin, but I tend to think if you're not going to be accumulating crypto in a sovereign wealth fund when you've already said so much pro that notion, we'll see what happens at the end of the day. We'll see what happens. But I tend to believe it's going to be bullish for crypto. So NVIDIA did try that 118 break. It's still holding a higher low, but you can see like it kind of pulled right back in, got to 118.5. Would like to see it resume the upward trend if it can do that. I think I'd want to be right back into it. But look at the barcode. Like it needs to make a decision, and then we'll join. Like allow it to get back in, maybe retake that 118. Don't need this falling back underneath that 118 and not being ready. So we're ready for it to break back out. We're ready for it to go 17 or into 16, which is VWAP, which I'll make sure we wait for VWAP if we do lose that 117 contain. SMR is pretty close, but hasn't broken out yet. And then Rigetti, Rigetti's just sort of still holding out this top. It's sort of chilling right at $13. Doesn't seem to want to make that move. If it doesn't start moving soon, Rigetti's a huge move today. It's like a good 10% from top to bottom. For the last half an hour, it's in the 10-cent range. I'm not anticipating it's going to hold that range. I'm looking for the breakout of the top. But if it doesn't do it, we'll have to move to another stock.
Okay, so let's have a quick see what's going on with some of these coins up in here. All right, so last 24 hours, wow, wild rides. We were down 10, 15% on Bitcoin when we were touching that 92, 91 area. We talked about that. It hit there last night. It's too bad because I put that bid at 87.5 or something last night. Missed it. Now up 3%. This is 24 hours, so this is just, changing as we speak. Ethereum still getting hit, man, 27 and change. We were down to that 23, 24 level there for Ethereum. That was a little scary just to see some battling back there. XRP, when we talked about it this morning, was down to 226, something like that. Well, I can call up all the charts. I just want to try to see some of the names. Thankfully, Tether's still $1, so that's good. Hopefully it stays like that. Solana back upside. Remember, this was down in the 170s, I believe, earlier today. And again, I'll call up the charts. I'm just looking through some of the names now as we go back up. Dogecoin, again, good level for sure. That was at a quarter. Now you're at 28 cents or so, up 1.6 cents. I saw Cardano 65 cents, almost pulled the trigger because remember, we got stopped out of a long up there at 98 cents for Cardano. We could have rebought it today at 65. We should have done that. But we did. I'm done buying all of these coins. We've made a decent amount on some of these lesser known coins that we'll wait to see. I saw Render went down to 450. I don't know. Here's Litecoin. I don't know if anybody's still talking about that as well. Yeah. All right. So that's about it. There's Pepe. I sometimes see some Pepe on there. You know what? Let's do something that's just real funny here. TRUMP. Let me see what the official Trump coin is all about right here. Is this what it is? Yeah, Trump, I think, right? Yeah. Down 7% right here on a 24-hour chart. We can go over to a 1-month chart, and you'll see, obviously, from zero there all the way up to $80 and now hovering around that $20 mark. So there's Trump official coin 7% down, which I guess is actually holding out pretty decently considering I don't know if it has any actual value to Trump coin or what that is backed by exactly. But again, that is not a endorsement or a negative aspect to it. I just do not know what you are investing in if you are investing in Trump coin. All right, so there's ARM holding again. I was just looking, it just did show up on the scanner, I guess, trying to hold through. I guess I need to refresh this scanner, but holding that VWAP right there was pretty good, 156 and change now for ARM. And again, just pretty choppy, but it's definitely that nice trend as we hold here, trying to break 158 right now. That would be that sort of that next level. So I think we'd be looking at that for a break long. Where are we though? Okay. So you're not too far away from a potential trade here in ARM, I think, breaking in and around that 158, but then I see we've already done that there today. Already gone to 159. No, I was just looking at this top right there and thinking, let's break that. Yeah, you're missing the data. Yeah, we had some
59. I'm just going to put the line in the chart so I know where to.
Yeah. Anyways, that's that one. Yeah, so I don't know. And then talk about that just before we go to Neil, because we did Trump coin. Like, I don't want to, like, again, it's not about it being worth nothing. As I said, like, I don't know what the value of it eventually is going to be. But if you sort of say, like, if you're a DJT investor and a Donald Trump coin, I feel like they're very similarly tied. I mean, I guess one would be tied to the Truth Social, which I believe is what we have here. And then I don't know about the Trump coin itself. So, but again, a lot of people invested in this don't need to know.
No,
it's a gamble. And I think people that watch this show understand that anything like that that actually doesn't have earnings, or it's same thing with the stock, right? Like you take a shot at Palantir hoping that they can turn a profit. Palantir was a 30-year-old company, or 25 or something like that year old company when it went public. It actually didn't IPO, it direct listed. You know, they did not turn a profit. They needed funding from capital markets and whatnot to get some of these projects off the ground. So Palantir, you needed to wait for that to happen. So that's why I'm saying a lot of these projects in the crypto space, we talked about RenderCoin and some of those other projects like Solana at one point was just that smart contract that now trying to take down Ethereum. So, you know, you got to sort of build your case for what you're trying to invest in. And then that would be that. No, Andre, I've not heard of Atos Software in Germany, but now everybody else has.
There it is.
That's now listening. So got me right there. But I did that on purpose, of course. So
Atos. But hey, everybody.
yes.
Introducing a new discovery on the NASDAQ, and that is Worksport, ticker WKSP. Worksport is a US-based manufacturer and rapidly expanding with growing revenues, government contracts, and innovative green energy products designed to power your life off the grid. Whether you're on the move or seeking sustainable energy solutions, Worksport has you covered. Now trading on the NASDAQ under WKSP, discover the future of clean energy with Worksport. Shout out to them and hug the 50-period moving average. Why don't you? Honestly, it's not often that... Here's one thing that I would say about moving averages, because you'll see us talk about moving averages all the time. If you like moving averages and you use them, just make sure your stock respects it, right? Because you want to trade off things that actually respect the thing you're looking at. And it's interesting that this actually has a lot of respect for the 50 simple. Oh, do that $1 break. You know how much I like these consolidations, break the dollar, you know, break the prior high, give it to the dollar, that sort of thing. So shout out to them. Jerry Garcia in the chat, the expected move on Palantir is, well, I thought it was 14. I'm just going to double check.
I think that's...
Yeah, it's 14. Keep two things in mind. Joe just put in, there was a ton of open interest at the 96 strike, which I think is, that's roughly about, I think it's about the 14% from where we are right now. That obviously makes sense. But last time it moved 23.5%.
This is not even
So
real
the last
life.
time it was 23.5%. Keep that in mind.
This is not even real life in Palantir. Like, I was like, oh my God, when the last time I sold shares, this thing was like 57, 58. And I was like, I can't, if this thing ever, I remember saying live on the show, I think it was Ozan and everybody was like, if this thing ever gets to 59, man, that's it. Like, I'm not even coming in tomorrow. And like now people are calling like 96s. Like that would be, oh boy, if we ever, I mean, like I said, I think it could happen. I just cannot believe the run that Palantir's been on. And I mean, we've been here for the whole damn ride. And it's been absolutely fantastic there for Palantir. We'll just see. I would say wise money, you know, probably get something out, you know, right around now. Like if you're still in a big position or anything like that, it's never, no matter how much I like the company or anything like that, it's like you still have to understand that earnings could go either way. It could be a complete disaster. Like that's the whole point, you know, of keeping this closed and trying to figure out what you think of the company overall, and then not base your decision on what is one quarter. I mean, we saw Apple start the day, and this could happen to Palantir tomorrow, right? I mean, we saw Apple start the day on Friday with exuberance, man. I mean, it was a monster report. Was it? I mean, they were okay. Services were better. We thought that it was a little in the clear. We had upgrades. We had all this kind of nice talk. Probably Danny Ives came out and probably called this the best investment again. And then, and this is the second most valuable company in the world. Just got shed like basically $13, like it didn't even really mean anything, all the way to the downside with very, very little resistance, only to catch a bid at the end of the day because of market mechanics brought us all up there as we had some huge buys at the end of the day, right into there into the close. So yeah, and then today it's like, okay, we'll just continue this. And remember, they were up on earnings. So this could be what happens tomorrow to Palantir. Boom to that 100, boom to that 96 or 99, or it could go the other way and take complete opposite as well. So all you can do is really trade price action. And I mean, that's why,
in fairness, Apple did have there was some negative stuff in the report.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's negative response. I think in most companies' reports, there's going to be negative stuff. I mean, it's just a matter of trying to parse it out. And I mean, that's the thing. It was up so much. It was on upgrades. I didn't hear anybody downgrade it after that earnings report. Now there probably is. But that day, and it was great. So we don't know what's going to happen. And at the end of the day, all we have is the positions that we have right here. Everything else, either long-term or we don't hold these overnight. So, we'll continue with sort of positive talk here today. We're 4 for 4 over here, and that's what we're doing.
Kirshner crew in the chat to me. Aren't you in MindMed in your personal account?
Kirshner.
Up 9%. Like I actually do own some shares in MindMed from a while, but it's small enough that there's zero thought of it on my mind as to where it happens to be. So if they're up today, I haven't looked in a while. And I don't have that much. It's a very less than 0.5%. Probably even less than that of my holdings. It's just not a big stock for me. But I haven't looked at MindMed in quite some time. I'm glad if they're up that 9%. But no, I don't think I've ever said that I have a significant position in either. So I'm not really sure where that one came from. But
up 9%.
Sharif, you're in MindMed? Yeah. Oh, you're in this stock? Just quickly. No, okay, just quickly before we expound on that, I wouldn't have thought of an RFK connection there. 118 did try to come back. So the first time it broke, it went clean 50 cents. This time it broke 118 and was nothing clean about it. So kind of like an up-down move on NVIDIA. Still kind of languishing. I did see it pop up. I mean, this is a crazy thing. It's popping up on my trade rate as number 1 right now, but there's not that much happening. So, it seems like it's doing the most, but relatively speaking, it's not moving a ton. So I'm looking for something to really stand out on my trade rate that when I go over and look at it, it's really moving. But MNMD, I mean, I guess, up 9% today. I haven't really looked at this thing in a while. It doesn't look that. It looks okay if it can, the 50 and the 200. But usually I like these things if they can break and get above that moving average and show you that second half of the trend and squeeze. It probably has a huge short flow too, which can give it some juice if it starts going there on MNMD. Kind of a random one. An RFK play, I suppose I can see the logic with that kind of a move, but not a big one for me.
And Marissa's making this chicken casserole. It has broccoli in it. All this. Yeah, man, it's like a chicken's.
I swim by and steal some. I have no idea what I'm doing.
I mean, it's because we're going to be out. She's got hockey all night, all day, all night. A fucking crazy hockey, man. Oh my God. She played yesterday and then she went to an optional. She already made the team, but she went to the skate anyways because her friends were going to the skate yesterday. So she's an absolute machine. Wow. When your kids find something. And then my son went snowboarding yesterday, so I was up at 6 o'clock or so, dropped him off at the bus, and then he went, and he is absolutely loving snowboarding. So nice when they find something that they like to do. And then my other kid. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
No, I was sort of hoping that basketball is going to be it. I was pleasantly surprised. We went to see the Globetrotters on Saturday.
Yeah. And, did they win?
Yeah. They lost once, and that was in 1971. They lost. What's impressive about the show is how good of a job they do keeping every quarter at they'll be up 20 and they'll still end the quarter basically even.
Yeah.
Every quarter they do it so that it's always a last-second bucket. They're unbelievable showmen and women. The only downside I had was there was only they have 5 women now. At least from when I looked at the roster, but only one of them came to the show in Canada. And so the line of all the little girls wanted to line up this year. And we did this magic pass a half an hour early. And literally the buzzer went off right after she got her picture with her. And I was
nice.
Thank goodness. And she immediately Ace is my favorite. She's practicing her ball handling when she got home. It's perfect. Just so cool and inspirational. And the best part about it, everybody, everyone there on the Globetrotters, to a T. They stay completely in character. The referee could be halfway across and not even paying attention. Just the facial expressions, interacting with the crowd. One of the players came and sat with us at one moment. What I love about them is they're just so positive and ridiculously skilled. Some of those dudes are doing dunks that
Yeah, I know.
Shoot,
crazy.
Like, they're crazy athletes. They were like, yeah, it's the Globetrotters. No, man, they can ball. Like, some of those dudes
Yeah, I
can
mean,
ball.
they're not professional ball players.
No, but like, just, yeah.
Yeah, they make money balling.
They got a dude from Poland who basically, like, break dances with the ball. He was pretty legit, too.
Nice, that'd be fun.
It's just a heck of a lot of fun. I don't know if they probably go everywhere in the U.S., but this is one of the few stops they make in Canada, which I'm glad. Because I went to see them when I was a kid, and it kind of means a lot when you take your kids to experience something that you did when you were younger.
Yeah, I am a good friend to Neil. You're right, the Fud Farm. I'm such a good friend to Neil that I brought him into this world, and I don't know if that's a mistake or not, but we've been pretty happy with it so far.
Well, at the end of the day, man, it's paid the mortgage and it's paid all that stuff. All that stuff. So I'm pretty happy about it. Oh, I said this, and I didn't really pull up a chart of Snowflake as to why I have concerns if Palantir goes down today. Then I have a sneaky suspicion. Let's see 185 to 190 on Snow. Yeah, it's kind of a big deal. Like 190 here, 185 there, 190, 190. If Palantir loses the bid today, Snowflake, I think in sympathy, is going to pull back. And Snowflake was like a 50-period hold trade for me. And then it did this little ramp job on their earnings. It'll suffice to say, if we lose, I have a stop underneath 170 in my personal account on a Snowflake long. And the reason I move that up is specifically for Palantir earnings, because I feel like if Palantir has any drag to the downside, it's very likely to punish Snowflake, which a lot of times will move in sympathy to them, even though they're not exactly the same thing. I don't think it'll always get dragged up with Palantir, but I definitely believe it get dragged down. The only high PE, not making money company that I'm a buyer of this year, I'm pretty sure, is going to be ARM. I just like ARM. I'll leave it at that. And if you only ever wait for stocks like that if you wait till they make money, a lot of times it's going to be too late. Or like think Uber, and I can't think of it. I mean, Palantir, we obviously talked about that one. I'm sure there's a few other. Amazon is a great example of that as well. If you wait too long, you're going to miss out. Okay, so SMR doesn't seem to want to make that break. Nanonuclear went. SMR not really going. Nothing's really jumping off. I actually see Palantir as number 2 on my trade rate right now. And but it's not really, I don't know, I might tweak this around a little bit, because I feel like the last couple of days, and when I have this on in the afternoon, like I'll pull the stock up and it's one of the volume leaders, but it's not really churning through the way I'd expect to when I pull it up. I have to mess around in e-signal with that indicator, maybe find another one as well.
I'm also the DJ at her games, at her home games, and yesterday, every time there was icing, I played Ice Ice Baby. I thought that was pretty.
Yeah, that's legit.
And things I have to find fun with. Okay, yeah. The other name I really think that Intel is a good play, man. I know my guy Obi hit this pretty good here today. He might be taking my spot as the Intel whisperer, maybe Obi over there. But yeah, right there, 1970 right there. Great shorts for Intel, but I actually like the name being up there today. I've only made 2 basic decisions in the last month or so. I bought some Intel on President Carter Memorial there the day after that when we opened back up. So I have to go check the price. I thought it was like right around here. So it's a flat trade. I think it was 1980 to be honest with you. And then I had bought just this morning the SPY off the market open. And that's it. I did not buy Bitcoin.
You should show the chart on.
Yeah, some Toronto things got a little bit ham there. And then hold on a second. Oh, NXPI is aftermarket. Did I know that? Yes, I knew that. So NXPI is again another semi-name. The expected move here is over 6%, but this name is also one of those ones that could help us give a little bit of guide. That's what it was, because we had TSM. NXPI could give a little bit of a guide. This is very, very similar to AMD, where if you've been sitting in some of these chip names not named NVIDIA, then you're getting crushed. I mean, now NVIDIA is trying to give it a little bit back, but AMD has been an absolute disaster, as has NXPI, and this is coming right now tonight, and this does not look good. Like, you want to talk about, this is why it doesn't matter. Like, people are like, oh, well, Palantir's valuation is so high. That's nice. It's going to get higher. Like, what do you want to do? Chase these names? Like, you want to buy names like this? I mean, it's just a matter of underneath the 50-period moving average right now just does not look good. If this was flipped around where we bounced off the 50 and upside, then I'd say this is good. But I did have thoughts that this one is not looking like a great report is imminent here on NXPI. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. I just heard in my ear that they were reporting, and I actually forgot to mention it in the past. All right, Google, I'm going to have to adjust my stops here because we are kept on watching VWAP, but it's come up just a little bit. So now it's at 202. So I'll take another bid here. So I'm actually still bidding 202.05. So that's kind of a little bit underneath VWAPs or so. It's still right here. So we'll try to get another long. I'm not going to do it right now, even though this is where we're long. I'm going to let it fall into VWAP, and then we'll give it 20 cents after that. Look, man, honestly, no red symbols today for me. I'm not going to like start sticking the hand in the cookie jar a little bit too early. We're going to stick to the plan here today. And yeah, shout out to Manny Fresh. Fresh. Oh, how did you know the funny thing about that is hilarious that you just said that. And you know why? I'm going to show you why here because this is what I was listening to today on my walk. No word of a lie. Hip hop, there's Manny Fresh. Dance mix on Apple Music. Honestly, that's what it was. Right there. That's
the
hilarious.
universe is always listening.
Or Eerie Pages is listening. That's crazy. They had that back that you know what up on that. That was a good one. It's one of my favorite songs from Juvenile.
That was that joint. Man.
You look good. Better back that thing up.
Anytime you doom, 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 doom.
If I start hearing that beat, man, you just better.
Yo, that was.
All of a sudden, you start wilding out.
That one. There's a
40-year-old gone wild about to happen
you hear
up
it,
in here.
No, it'll always be X. Nothing. It's X for me. Like
Starting to get with it.
Anytime they drop that little DMX.
Oh yeah, I have like yesterday I was playing that. They like party up in here. I'm gonna get me lose my mind up in here. That one's a good one. That's a good one for the DJs.
Don't get me fired there. Get me fired up.
I told you I'm getting fired up.
Get me fired up. This came up and I didn't know the answer to this. My roommate, because not my roommate. We went to the Globetrotters with my neighbor. Nice. He's like, who's performing with Kendrick Lamar? Like, is it?
I don't know.
There's always like leaks as to who it's going to be. Obviously, he's not performing by himself on Sunday.
He could. I mean, it's LA. I mean, that's why he won all the Grammys because it was in LA yesterday.
I just assumed there was going to be some,
Oh yeah, it could be. I think it's New Orleans.
Yeah, usually. Well,
so I don't know if Lil Wayne will show up. I mean, he's pretty mad that he didn't get it to begin with, so I don't know.
Yeah, how he's not.
I mean, Drake turned the thing down 10 times. They asked Kendrick once, and he says yes. So.
But how can Wayne not be there? It doesn't even make any sense.
I don't know. The Weeknd, I think, did it by himself.
Oh yeah, he did, didn't he? I just thought for sure.
Who was last year? Was it Beyonce? There was Beyonce
I thought
one year.
Sure,
oh no, Beyonce did the halftime at Christmas for Netflix.
Drake maybe.
Who did last year?
It would be the biggest troll ever if Drake was there. Vizbot,
pregnant Rihanna, yeah.
DMX, the best show you've ever been to. I've heard a lot of people say that. I never had a chance to see DMX live. Apparently, he's amazing. And Flick's podcast, just back to the market for a second, isn't ARM overvalued? Yeah. I would agree that on a PE basis, ARM is absolutely overvalued. I just think ultimately they're in everything. You cannot make, you're not going to make energy efficient chips without them. So they're a big part of the AI boom. They're a big part of the chip boom, regardless of AI. And a lot of the insider holding are companies that are never selling the stock, including like NVIDIA. Like NVIDIA wanted to buy them outright. Intel wanted to buy them outright. And ultimately, I just like the company. So I'm DCAing into it. Every quarter, unless something crazy happens on the earnings, I just want to build a position. I made that mistake early, calling it overvalued. And when I had it at like 80, and ended up taking half out at 120 like a fool, and then saw it go to 150, and I never bought those shares back, and I ended up buying those shares back at like 100 or something like that. Eventually, you just got to buy the stock. If you like it, you can't get too wrapped up in valuation if your time horizon is really long. Like, companies will grow into it. That's just part of the game.
All right. It looks like we should have been buying Google at that exact same price again as it starts to go back up there to the upside. What's up, Danielle? Yeah, I just started swimming last couple of months throughout the day, just get away from here. get a little bit of action throughout the midday, and that's pretty much all that I do. Then I go for some walks and stuff like that. So that's about it for the workout plan for that. Okay, just trying to find some new trades here. Shopify, Amazon, XOM. Let's check out some energy plays. Let's see what XOM's doing right now. So let's have a quick look. So 107 and change. We had looked at, what was the bottom, 105 or so there? Yeah, so there's that 106, 105. Sometimes you just don't forget these key levels. Nice little move there off of 105 up to 112 again, bouncing off 50-period moving average. You know, ExxonMobil does have a lot of green energy ideas as well there. I don't hate the name at all. There's a dividend there. I don't ever want to chase yield, but there is a dividend on Exxon. I think it's 3.5%. So there's not too bad there. Same as Chevron, but you can lose that dividend in one day if things don't go right with any of these policies. So again, an American name. I don't know what exactly to think about all these energy plays. The one that I'm in is XLE. I'm not adding to it. I'm not really doing anything with any of the energy plays that I'm in right now. And I'm kind of just leaving them alone. We did talk about, I know that I was going to buy the diamonds, although today I bought the S&P. But I kind of want to stay away from most of the energy names. XLE is actually going the other way. It was starting to head upside as opposed to ExxonMobil there, I believe, because I don't think XLE looks, oh no, my chart's going to crash, or is it? No. Is it? Let me see. One second. I'm going to go to Dara, I think, in a minute. All right. Well, okay, there it is. Yeah, so here's that move down that we had talked about. There's that nice move up. So, yeah, so this is in a drawdown right now. I'm like leaving most of these names alone until some sort of a dramatic move one way or the other. We had JC on the show calling XLE like a huge buy, and I don't, it just hasn't been there. I wonder if that's changed on that. He was here maybe 6 months ago, 8 months ago, so it's not a recent call from All-Star Charts there, but I remember him liking the space. Maybe still does, again, probably on valuation, but right now XLE, nice downside move. All right, Adara has something, maybe something's moving around.
Keep an eye out here for some volatility because Trump's press secretary, the White House press secretary, did just say that the call between President of the U.S., Donald Trump, and Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, is currently underway. So apparently this call, where they're very likely to discuss tariffs, is underway. Beware here of some market volatility. Already a little bit of a pullback here on the NASDAQ, guys. Back to you.
Yeah, and look, I've seen a few people in the chat mentioning SMCI for potential earnings. So I'm going to double check, because I know this came up last week, and I'm going to double check with Adara as to when it says they report. Because I see one source. I see like one source that says tomorrow pre-market, and I remember when we talked about this last week. Here, we'll pull up SMCI while I'm talking about it, so I don't confuse you guys. And I saw one report that said tomorrow in the pre-market, and then others were saying it might be a little bit later. So just make sure you get like a couple of sources. We don't have anything definitive on it. Obviously, when SMCI reports, it's an event just from a volatility standpoint in and of itself. This would be a nice one to break out 28.
I mean, there's a way to find out when they report. Joe, see if you can find out where there's a lot of interest on SMCI, if there's any sort of specific date on SMCI open interest. Problem solved. Okay, so right here, let's just look over at Coinbase, see what that's doing here today. 286.50, 286.70. Nice move up for Coinbase, man. I mean, look at that bounce off VWAP. Like, I just feel that this is going to be the case for a little while here on Coinbase because, with all of this action, I feel that you're just going to want to treat crypto names as if it's like almost earnings day every day. Like here's the move up. Look at it bounce off VWAP. Look at it bounce off VWAP again. Boom. Comes back into VWAP and holds. Like we just got to play the same direction as pretty much, like the same story that we've been working with. And that is stock is moving. We'll check the implied move. And I think on Coinbase, 2 to 3% move is pretty basic, to look for every day. So I don't think we're even outside of what an expected move here on Coinbase. But again, VWAP, boom. So right there, man, as we go. So we're going to get it all figured out. I see a lot of people there asking about what's going on with SMCI. So we've asked Joe, and if he finds it, he finds it. If not, there could be nothing. SMCI is a very, very busy name, obviously, on the option front. But that was, pardon me? What day? Yeah, but what days? Need to know the day. Okay, this Friday. Okay, so maybe February 7th. There's some interest there.
I have it up.
Yeah, sure.
Just to show it. So there's a lot of open interest on the 7th. But there's a lot of speculation. I saw people in the chat say
that's a
14th,
Friday,
people
too.
say 20th. Ultimately, it looks like a guess they haven't really said. That's what it amounts to. But let's be real. You know, you're here. Believe me, we're live with everything. So in the aftermarket, whenever an announcement happens, we'll get it to you for sure. Now you're really starting to go here on Rigetti. All right, so Rigetti's now broken away from the 13 level. Let's see if we can't find a join here, maybe even at that 13 quarter as it's looking relatively strong. NVIDIA is somehow still the top of my trade rate, but I guess that's just because it's NVIDIA, but it lost that 18 and now heading back into VWAP is NVIDIA. Only about 15 minutes until we go, 15 minutes until we get to the end of the day. We have the imbalances coming through. You have a little bit of a rollover, not rollover, but resistance forming on the NASDAQ, and you're being dragged down here. So I'm looking for something that might look short. I mean, Tesla was the weakest name. Apple was incredibly weak today, but it's now above VWAP and holding a little bit stronger than it was before. So I don't know that that's going to fit the bill either. You guys let me know if there's anything moving like crazy. You know, obviously, I want to see something starting to go. The only thing I see breaking out of any range would be Rigetti. Everything else is pretty much in a pocket. I still like this SMR, but even SMR, that just pulled back pretty decently. We tried to break the top a second ago, like right in here, looked really good for a top break, and it just lost a bid, like literally 5 minutes ago. So this might not be the one. It doesn't mean it can't break, but we're running out of time for this breakout in SMR. Like the double top, like where it's holding relative to the close on Friday. We're just not seeing any follow through that'll let us take that long.
All right, so I'm just going to wait for one more trade to come through. This is Google bidding this VWAP. If we break VWAP, we'll get out of it. We are not going to turn red on this play. Never. So we'll put on a play here. We'll put on like a 2 or 3 unit play. If our max is 5, this will be like 2 units down there at 202, and then we're just going to hold it 20 cents. If we break back down into the 80s, then we're going to get out. We're just going to try it. It is negative. The market's not holding up like I thought it would. I'm a little disappointed because I just looked at the TQQ chart, and this is something that we should have. Again, like just this top right there. If I was looking short, then I think he let it blow off a little bit, and then what I think I've done in the past, and respect to you too, Tony. I mean, thank you so much. I mean, I don't know if you're saying you're my biggest critic and now all of a sudden you're a big supporter. I just want to say thank you. No, because honestly, it's not easy to host and to trade and to do what we're doing here every single day. Like trying to find the best trades and trying to put those up for you. And talking about our day, there's some humility in talking about how your day's been going. And I think that, you know, I do a pretty good job of that. And even when the day's not going great, you know, I'll be here to tell you guys, you know, if I've traded 6 names and I'm positive on one of them, I'll tell you I'm 1 for 5. You know, it just hasn't happened. It's been a pretty good day, pretty good run, I should say. Today is fine. Today's great. But just this top here. So there's the top. So this is what I'm saying. You have a nice move up there. You make that top fine. Generally speaking, it's like that Google trade. You take out the top, you come back into the 50 period, and then bang, you're supposed to take that top again. But when it doesn't, then this is where I feel like just here, 250, 3 o'clock, and then we're a little bit past it now. Like these were shorts right here against that. So the fact that we've fallen now, like I would say you probably would take something out like here around halfway if you're short off those tops between the 50 and the 200. But we've really helped ourselves with that 200. And it's been a good support level. So if you are falling back in, I would say that you don't want to wait too much longer than 81 bucks. Like if you can get a little bit of a drip on this into the close ahead of Palantir earnings. Again, it's NXPI, it's Palantir, and it's Clorox. CLX is not Clorox, is it? CLX. Oh, it is. It is. Okay. Yeah.
That stock.
Well, yeah. So anyways, so not big S&P movers or anything here into the close, but at the end of the day, the market could fade out a little bit. I feel like it's been I was serious. Like I thought the NASDAQ did have a chance to go. When we made the comment, it was around here and it only got to 0.35, only to return back. So, all right, see how we've not bought any more Google. We told you where our bid is. It's right down here, right at 202.05, right at where VWAP is. Like I'm not trying to get anything too excited here. It's a fallback in. We don't have many shares. You can see all the outs. We're going to reload this, put a position on, give it 20 cents. That's what we're doing here today. So I don't know. On that note, it's kind of the same talk. How's your day going over there?
You know what? It's mostly a nothing burger day. There was two stocks. There were two stocks that I actually had any risk that was equivalent to a big mover.
Yeah.
Most of the big levels that I liked. Sorry, these guys are talking about this IVVD. I'll get there in a quick little second. Most of the big moves that I liked never got to the prices I wanted, with the exception of PDD. Like PDD is the only one really that ended up trading where I wanted it to, and it did the dance. But it was this wick right here, which took out the 108, that got me the most. And it was the only stock that actually traded right at the price that I really liked. And that's the worst when it happens to you, for sure. TRBH31, how about BABA? I haven't looked at BABA. I'm gonna make the presumption BABA's chart probably looks a little bit like Pinduoduo's chart today, but actually no. BABA's is much better.
Really?
Yeah, much better. So that's, here, just quickly. That's Pinduoduo, and this is Alibaba. So both of them spike and then pull back, but one of them is now flat on that entire pullback, and it's now flat. I think, look, I like BABA.
Here's Google.
We own it on our personal account, just so you guys know. But yeah, I like the fact that it's going to hold up better. It is at a resistance spot and rejected $100. So I'm not, I wouldn't be buying it here. I think the buys have been pretty obviously in the 70s and the 80s if you've been following along on Alibaba, and that's the price that you want to own it for sure. No, I had this IVVD stock up because I heard about everyone talking about it in the chat, popping up on the volume. It's like the only low floater, just popped up one of the scanners up there, right at the $1 level on this IVVD, done 400 million shares with only 45 minutes to go. So like 500 million shares done. Yeah, I'd say that's pretty strong. And it's trying to break away from a buck as we speak. I usually like the over-under. They stacked the offer from 1 to 105 here. So looking for a reversion on this IVVD.
I mean, there's 20 cents right there on Google. We talked about it. We'll take 5 units. That's 2 units right there. So yeah, are we happy with that trade? Yes. Yes, we are right there. So that's a good one right there. We come again. It's a chicken dinner winner for you. As Neil was mentioning, just a couple names there. Our Google fell into our lap, and we talked about exactly what we were doing. So there it goes, man. Boom goes the dynamite right there. I hope some of you did take that trade. There it is, man. We just stacking on stacking on stacking right now today. So I know it's been a little bit of a nothing burger day for my friend to the right here, but today's been a pretty big day over here. So I want to say again, thank you to everybody there. Thank you so much. Oh, here's Jonathan coming in again. All right, oopsies. Let me see what you said. I just saw my name here, so hopefully it's not that bad. All right, we should probably pre-read these. But okay, I'm always impressed with your consistency, Sean. Sean, thank you. I'm here without any distractions, and I still am not as consistent as I am. Well, thank you for that. Whenever I'm on the opposing side of a trade, do not. So that's the one thing we always talk about that. Like Sharif says, oh my God, the Gatina man is long and I'm short. It has nothing, honestly. I do appreciate it. I would think that if our logic is opposite, then maybe something a little bit different. But for me right here, I mean, anybody can see this trade. I know, like Neil won't take it. We'll take different trades. You can monitor us as you see, and you can ask us, what's up with your trading today? And we just discussed it, right? We said not too many bangers for Neil. We've got 4 or 5 of them today. It's just a matter of what are you looking for? Does something you're looking for set up? We are lucky enough that Tesla is a huge one today because we have Tesla marked on here. We have FXI marked on here. So look at FXI. FXI is a positive name for us. There it is. Short, short, short. Bang. It takes out the top and we get out. This is barely a positive name for myself today. Tesla, FXI. And then we had marked down AMD, which before this Google trade was PNL number 2 for me. So it's just like have your ideas, have them in there. And even if levels don't hit, like look at this level on Google. Bang, Neil. This is 45 cents just right now, as if we're just taking candy from a baby right there again. So Jonathan, if this is what you mean, there it is. Yeah, we are consistent. And there it goes. Boom. VWAP to the 50 period. We're using scanners. We're doing what we're doing. We are that common man. And if we can do it, so can you. So there it goes, man. Nice move there to that upside on Google. So right now, Neil's in IVVD. We're rocking this thing with Google. Let's see if we can put some more up on the board, Neil. Let's go.
Yeah, look, IVVD just made that break back underneath the $1 level. Wow, Rigetti is absolutely gonzo. I have it up on the other chart there. I got to cancel that bid. If Rigetti gets that far down, we don't want any part of it. So right back over under at the buck. I'm not giving it to the prior. I'm not giving it to the actual high of the day here. There's a stacked offer. I don't want this getting past the 102. So I'm going to give it to the 102 level. I have like 98 quarters as the price. We're giving it to that 102, looking for the first push down into like 95. 95 would be about that 1-to-1. You've got to be kidding me, Rigetti. All right, I canceled some bids on Rigetti because that's what Rigetti is doing. It's absolutely gone to the upside at this point. Oh, I hate chasing this far in the day at 320, but first available dip should have been here. I thought we'd get down into like 13 even. You pulled into 12.98. Then there was this little tiny red candle. Next available red candle, I'll look for an entry on RGTI. But it's a simple little reversion play, which has worked well. Like actually, I mean, the best trade I had was a reversion trade today on GM, is what it is. But it's the same setup, right? You guys have probably seen this before. Like trend up, fail a high, revert back into VWAP. The only difference with IVVD is it's a penny stock trying to hold the $1 level. So I like that 102 where they've stacked the offer to. I feel like if these get to 105, it's pretty much already gone. So always a bit of a tighter stop here. If it breaks 102, I'm going to be out. Let me get some bids in because he actually got a bid to be able to cover.
Exactly. And I think that there's some good talk there in the chat. Like, it's all relative, right? Like, obviously, the amount of shares that someone would use on a 98-cent stock might be a lot more than something that you would use on a $202 stock, right? So you're going to have to take that for what it's worth. And that's why I'm just saying, you just judge the trade if it wins or loses. All losing trades will be a minus into your account. All winning trades will be a positive into your account. Then you have to assess what the share sizes are of those trades. And that's what it is, right? Where are your stops? What size do you have? Like trading that stock at IVVD right there at 98-cent stock, you might have 10,000 shares of that, as opposed to maybe 200 shares or something of Google. Like, I don't know. You got to judge the way it's going to move, what your risk tolerance is, and what your plan of action. So, yeah, man, I mean, there's a lot of money to be made everywhere right now. So you just got to judge whatever your style is and go with that. So thanks for all of that there, right? So boom, there it goes, man. We do like Rigetti. I wish that I was still along that $6 there after last week. All right, so Google went up there, and as we know, we are starting to get, okay, I just took some more out there at 32. I got a lot out on that upside. So we have about that 1 unit left, so about half of our position left as we get up there into the 50 period, and we just cash it out. So nice move to the downside right there into VWAP. Our P&L number 2 stays there right here. We're up about half on Google's what we made on Tesla. And Tesla was basically all done by 10:30 right there. So again, it's I've had 55 executions on Tesla and 34 executions on Tesla, 55 executions on Google, and we are in the hundreds of shares traded, not in the thousands of shares traded on these two names today. So I know we don't disclose our share sizes, but that's roughly just so you would know. It's not like we mentioned, I didn't see anything too crazy today, although the Tesla one there, if you have thousands of shares for $14 winner, I mean, that would be great. But at the end of the day, that's a nice move there into the downside for our friend and yours, Tesla. Good name. Coinbase moving around, IBIT. I mean, I think IBIT just continues to go. I told you I'm not shorting this name, so good thing too that we were not involved, but it does pull up to the 50 period moving average, and it looks like we just had that dip right back into it. 57.50 was your last 50 period, and that sort of was the close on Friday. So wow, that was a nice little hold there. Looks like we want to break 58. So I'd say this is probably a long. What is that? 58.13. You want to take that? I think we'll take that. So there's that play that we're looking for, right? The new high, the bounce off of the 50 period, then retake the new high. So I'm doing that. 58.12s, I'm going long. If we break IBIT right there, 58.13, I'm going long on IBIT. Play it back to a break here of the 50 period moving average, and cry for me, says the weekend. If we wind up losing on this one, then that will be our first red mark of the day at 3:30.
That's what it should be like. And when it stops, you got to be able to get out. It's a good thing we actually put it at the actual low, higher low or lower high instead of the actual high of the day, because the slippage on the actual high of the day was extreme. So I stopped it at 03. This thing broke 5 and went right to 10. It doesn't seem like it means a lot, but believe me, it makes a difference. And I made this same mistake on GM this morning. Actually, this was the lesson of the day, because I talked about slippage on GM, where there are situations where you have like a clear breakout level, and oftentimes you don't necessarily want to have your stop be in a liquidity vacuum. If anything, if you can get it a little bit tighter, or just be willing to say, hey, it's trending to the upside. By the time it gets to here, you can start to get blown out, because the slippage on General Motors was hefty. So what we did over here on IVVD is, instead of giving it to the high of the day, recognize that same thing, stop it underneath the high just to save yourself a little bit. And it ends up saving, it could have been actually double the hit, because that's 4 cents in there, but that's another 5 to the actual high where you could get slipped to. So you're just trying to limit it if you are going to give it to that top. For a reversion trade for myself, a lot of it comes down to, you want it to work right away. It's always going to be a hard stop. Obviously, if it gets to 90 and 85 and 80, you're going to look fantastic, but you've got to ask yourself the question, when it doesn't work, how much are you able to save yourself in a situation like this? And that's one thing I saw today. Like, if you see a liquidity level underneath that high, the high of the day is just a line. It's just a line, and it's just a wick. If there's a stacked offer and it ends here, then that's where my stop goes, not to that little top. As a matter of fact, the stock continues to go to the upside. NVIDIA doesn't want to break its on beer producer. It's tiring you down there. I took my shot on NVIDIA at the 118. The first time was good, like right away. Like the first thing we did when we came on the show was take the 118, and then we tried it again. It was all of a sudden a bunch of resistance on this 118 level. I want it breaking away from this price again. So when it was a clean break the first time, it was a bad break the second time. It's again finding resistance a third time here on NVIDIA. I'd like to see buyers above it, maybe some bids start to come in like the 10, 11 area, and then try to join some kind of a trend on NVIDIA. But that 118 break, you had to take it the first time. I think even Obi was talking about this. He messaged me. He's like, yeah, that 118 was clean. Yeah, for about 40, 50 cents. And since then, it's been a resistance level for the last hour.
All right, we can talk about Palantir. So I'm still going to try to grab that IBIT trade. So yeah, that's yeah. I mean, IVVD. I mean, I might just go long on this one. But there it goes, 110. Okay, IVVD. All right, PLTR. All right, everyone's excited about this. And look, the thing is like, nobody knows. You know, nobody knows what Palantir is going to do. So if you're all excited, like I keep saying here, I'm going to pull down the chart one more time. Like, its PE is a little out there, you know, and if you are one of those value investors, then you're probably not in Palantir forever, so you've just missed about a 400% return. So that's okay, though. You don't need to be. It's not for everybody, as we said. My style of trading is not for everybody. You know, like that trade on IVVD, I would have lost my whole day, because I would have put on shares and then it would have just lost 4 or 5 pennies, boom. But it's risk management. You got to manage your risk. If Palantir is too risky for everybody, then you got to be careful with it. And right here, I'm trying to find its PE. Yeah, it only has a forward PE here of 170. You know, its current PE of 412. So yeah, I mean, it is blown out. I mean, I just looked. I'm only up 21% on my Snowflake, but its forward PE is actually worse, 204. Okay? Yeah, with no PE. So, like, you want to invest in Snowflake, not even making money. At least Palantir is making money. So you got to go back and forth with all of this. Like, I'm into Snowflake as well. So we'll wait to see what happens. But this move to the upside here, if you're nervous hands on that, then I would say, just get out now. You have a winning trade. There's nowhere where you could have bought this name right now that if you sell right here, right now, you know, unless for somehow you made these high wicks, you are making money on Palantir. So I would just say, like, without having that crystal ball, although it may seem like sometimes we do, this has nothing to do with anything other than let's see that number that they post. And from everything that I'm reading and everything that I believe in, I think they can turn out a big number again here today. So we'll wait to see what winds up happening with Palantir. with more businesses getting hacked, more AI talk, more this, more that. We saw CrowdStrike has been an absolute monster. We bought that name as well and haven't done anything with that except for hold it, as that just continues to $400. Like this thing just boom, got hit pretty good straight up. You want to check the PE on CrowdStrike? Anyways, as we continue to go forward, I just think Palantir is manageable up here, and we'll just wind up seeing what happens. If you're nervous, perfect opportunity to trim. I prefer the lotto calls than the lotto puts, but I don't know. They're going to be super expensive. So at the end of the day, do you? But again, I like Palantir, and we'll see what happens here tonight. So I'm excited for it. I may sell some. I don't know what we're going to do with Palantir. I'm in the long game with all of this. I think it's going to be a big year for the market in general. I told you I bought the S&P this morning, and I think it could work. So I'm here for that, and we're just going to wait to see if we can get a good move. And if Palantir moves down, so be it, man. I mean, I didn't sell anything down here when we were at 68 or 70 or anything. I also didn't pick any up. So let's see some data points. Let's be like the Fed right now and base our decision on some data points right here with Palantir and see what comes with earnings. So there it is. Yeah, there it is. See, there you go. Thank you, David. That would be amazing. I might have a flu myself tomorrow if Palantir gets to $90. You might see me having my flu in the Barbados or something.
Expected. That's not
right there. If you see me in my Raheem mode tomorrow, you know that we've had a big move there in PLTR, Neil.
In the pool.
That's what I'm saying. You see me tomorrow with like a little margarita chilling out in Cancun or something. I'm taking Joe. We'll go to Jamaica.
There's only 2 islands to go to.
We got Antigua there.
Is Antigua or Jamaica around? Who hit the fail? Who hit the fail on that? Come on, son. Because Joe's from Jamaica.
Nah, Joe got replaced me. Joe got replaced me right here.
It's like that.
So that's the thing. Sorry, Joe. The people like you too much. I'm easy to replace, you guy. Man, this Joe. I mean, look, we're setting records, man. We just had the best month ever. I want to thank Joe, for all of his support there again as well. I mean, I think that a lot of these bangers that we're putting on and just you guys joining us every single day and watching the recap show and just continuously waiting for news from Adara and the lessons from Sharif and Joe and the knowledge from over here with Neil. I mean, it's absolutely, it's been more than I could have ever dreamed of. When we had thought about this show starting up. So thank you so much to everybody as we get ready to hit that 500,000. My hat's off to all of you.
This cue, baby.
As we go. Let's just keep on going. Yeah, and Obi in the back as well, man. I mean, he's another one. Obi putting up numbers again. Like I told Obi, like this guy's doing, I anointed this guy the next one a hell of a long time ago. So again, my spidey sense is up on Real Traders. We always talk about that. Shout out to all of you out there that are trying to push enough size here to make a difference, and Obi's doing that. So I say my hat's off to you and to everybody that's leveled up as well. So congrats to Obi. We'll see if we can keep it going. It's 3:30 right now.
Yeah, celery. Shout out to Sharif as well. I can't spell Sharif. You know how to spell Sharif up there. Yeah, shout out to him as well. Where is NVIDIA going, Michael Taylor? Not past 118 yet. That's for sure. It's 3:30, so I'm going to quickly show you guys the early look on the imbalances. Oh, where did it go? Don't tell me. Oh, that's great. I'll have to get, oh, there's my locator. Wow. This one already killed it one time, and let's go back over to there. Early look is actually NU, and I was just about to mention Walmart. We're going to cancel that 100 breakout on Walmart for today. 1.9 million early look sell imbalance on Walmart. It's got a nice little double top. I thought we had a chance to break this one this afternoon, but there's your double top on Walmart. A 1.8 million sell on Walmart is not that big of a deal. It's probably the kind of stock that's going to pair off. Obviously, the recovery from the bottom makes some logical sense with tariffs, the tariff news that we did get. So I like the stock. Candidly, I am long Walmart in my personal account. This is another one that a lot of people would probably tell you is on a PE basis overrated and overvalued. But if you're, like for me, I want this to balance out some of the tech in my portfolio. And so I want it to be a bigger part of my portfolio, which just means I'm DCAing. I bought once at the 50 period moving average. If it lost that, I'd probably be a buyer in the 80s as well. Like I'm just a buyer of the stock this year, building a long-term position because I happen to like it. Apple is back down to VWAP, it seems like. Just looking for something that's actually going to give me trade setup. Apple, not bad. It's Rigetti. That's the one. You'll stop to fail on Rigetti because, whatever. Like we had a couple of solid longs on Rigetti, but really, like this move to here, there was a nice continuation off of 13 to have played it off VWAP. And if you're wondering why do we like Rigetti today, I know it doesn't seem like a stock that you would like, but this is what the stock looks like. I think Rigetti has a good chance to maybe even reclaim that 15. It looks pretty strong to me. We shouldn't have gotten away from the long on this. We liked it at 12. We liked it at 12 and a half. For some reason, didn't like it at 13. Like it gave you that 50 pennies a couple times here. So I'll be bullish on Rigetti tomorrow, barring some kind of an abject disaster. But yeah, Rigetti hasn't really given us that dip. Like there hasn't even been a red candle here on this 15-minute. It's just been blooming to the upside here. So let's see what happens next. Still got the eyeballs, of course, on it. Only about 15 minutes until the imbalances, so I'm not sure it's going to give us the setup we want. NVIDIA still can't break the 118 either.
I can't feel my face, I just said, because I've been doing some weekend looks here. Okay, so I don't know, man. I mean, we did take that IBIT break. I mean, it took out that high, but it really just went exactly to it again. I'm not worried the fact that the market, we talked about like, okay, the market's about to close or not. Wait a second. Oh, nothing happened. Okay, I thought, I was bidding. No, the market's going to close here at 4 o'clock, but I was going to say I'm not worried about that with IBIT. I mean, I'm not, it's going to be, I thought I was bidding 97s there. What just happened? Something went to 96s? I thought I saw like a teleportation there. I am bidding 57.97 on the NASDAQ gateway. So, okay. So I did not get filled. Sometimes these ETFs, like I would have, if I refresh sometimes you have to refresh your blotter to see if you get the shares. I'm going to refresh it. No. Okay. Must have missed me. Okay. Anyways, I'm bidding a little bit more on IBIT down here just at the 50 period. Moving average right there. So that's 94, 95. I bid ahead of that at 97. I guess, yeah, according to, okay, I just looked at what went to 97 there. All right, well, we were, I guess, just not picked up. And sometimes, again, you'll see a lot of size on here. Make sure you do hit the like and subscribe again. You'll see a lot of size on here. It doesn't necessarily mean that all those shares are going through. Most of these are just algos. They're pulling their bids and removing them. And they only start to join and make levels once, I don't know, either news hits or things like that. They're just kind of making markets here. There's again, part of the rebate structure is adding and removing liquidity. So like as this just goes washing back and forth,
you have probably some ARB there too.
Oh yeah, probably. I mean, that's the other thing too, like ARBing in between different ETFs as well as ARBing between Bitcoin and all that. I don't think that's probably not what's happening, but who knows? Anyways, that's a piece for me to worry about, not for you guys. So we'll have to wait to see what happens now with IBIT. So just where the stop is, and that's sort of what I want to get at here, was, so what I do is, so I said there, break. I thought the take of the top again should have signaled a breakout. I tried it, again, up on the day versus a negative NASDAQ. I like the strength. I'll probably take this. We talk about, like, I don't know, maybe at some point we'll write a book or something, but these will be the breakouts that I would really trade with, and that's something that I would like, so I'm taking that. We'll average it back to the 50 period. We could talk about Google. We misfired on Google. Okay, Google, we just got taken out. I'll show you that in a minute. We misfired on it the first time, and all of a sudden it's P&L number 2. So you got to stick with these plans. So I'm going to get out. If we break the 50 period moving average, then we got to find a spot. And I was just going to find this little top break right there. So like an 80, basically a break of 87 or so would be right there. So give it a little bit more. There's my fill. So there it is. So we finally get that 97 bid coming through for us. So now our average price, 05s. So our out is a break of 85. So 20 cents right now. And right now we're stuck 10. So 10 more cents to the downside here, as it looks like I'm assuming crypto wants to break lower here. Market's trying to hold out. Let's see what we do right now with Bitcoin. I'm trading off IBIT, so a little bit of a shelf break and we're gone. Right now, long, 58.05, risking 20 cents. We told you our last trade could be the first red mark of the day, and that would be fine. Go ahead, yeah, go ahead.
I want to quickly show something, because actually he'll be on tomorrow, I'm assuming, Brian Shannon. But he actually tweeted this out and was like, oh, that's interesting for anyone that's looking at the futures right now. He's pointing out essentially some key anchors on both the SPY and the Qs that we'd be coming into. So on the SPY, it's like right in here, just above the 600 level, which we're very tight to, which we're getting very tight to. And then the NASDAQ, it's a little bit higher. I guess we're it might be like a buck or buck and a half away from it on the NASDAQ, but just worth a look. I saw that and was looking as pulling back here, and it could be part of the reason you're running out of a little bit of juice in some of the stronger names. Like we've gotten to this top, we're just not pressing through. Like Nvidia doesn't want to press through, Tesla's rebound doesn't want to press through, the Qs don't seem to want to press through here. So like I said, the resistance is actually closer to the 22 on the Qs, but yeah, you've been having trouble up there. So a significant anchored VWAPs. And shout out to Brian, always a fantastic. As we're gonna have Michael Noss joining Adara and myself.
Well, that should be.
And then of course, I mean, obviously it's gonna be Palantir leading the way. They're not the only one reporting, but you know, that's the first place we're going to be looking. That's the chart that's going to be up. That's the one that everyone's going to be excited about. And they're the first massive earnings name, of course, this week. This is a big earnings week, no questions asked. But like outside of, we said what matters this year. I think, obviously, I don't think the Fed matters as much. I think it's in earnings. And then, of course, we should probably say that anything tariff-related right now, headlines, has got to be big. This is the first day we haven't had a tariff headline in the afternoon in a while.
Yeah, that's right.
Because he's supposed to be talking with Trudeau literally right now at 3 o'clock. They were supposed to meet at 3.
Okay. There goes Google. So Google slips up to the downside. As you guys know, we did not buy any more of this name. So Google, a big stock for us there, breaks below VWAP, we get out. I mean, it's not... again, not too hard to see that play. Right there into the 50-period moving average and then the fade out. Thank you, everybody. Massive, says Miss Lucia. Yes, Mom. It's a massive trade. All right, so we'll have to wait for that. Let's just check in what Tesla's doing at the end of the day here. Let me have a quick look. See what Tesla's doing. 384, 385, okay. Yeah, right there coming in. So I think that this could be something 385 and change there for Tesla coming through. So yeah, we're feeling pretty good about that level. But it's been a bar-coded, oh, I just hurt my knee. My whole knee is rebuilt. So that's a problem there. Heard it playing rugby in high school and then continued to play baseball all throughout my life. Funny fact, if I didn't hurt my baseball, I think I'd be a tri-sport athlete. Right now, but instead I'm here trading, so that's all good. All right, so there goes 385.50 right there coming through. All right, what is going on with FXI right now? All right, this could break lower. Ooh, it's too bad that China doesn't move too much here in the afternoon because that break of 31.70, I like a lot on that one. We'll have to wait to see there. Yeah, I really like Intel. It's too bad earnings are done. I think if they ever get some good announcements through it, especially like where Patty G is out of there, I think Intel has a good chance of going somewhere, especially if they get a market-friendly CEO or a deal somewhere, or Intel, or
it can't be a worse
becomes like a
CEO.
mega stock or something.
It almost can't be a worse CEO. I just feel like they need to tell us that they're close because they said 4 to 6 weeks, 4 to 6 months, a couple months ago. Actually was maybe only a month and a half ago, and there's been nothing. There was zero real update on the call, the conference call with regards to what everyone wanted to hear with Intel. But it feels like it's made a bottom. I'm not pulling the trigger again on that one. At the end of the day, like it's
been a disaster. It's been literally one of the worst stocks you could hold in the last 30 years.
It's the opportunity cost. Well, I haven't held it for 30
Oh, no, but...
It's the opportunity cost of it. Whether you've won or not on something, like... it's the opportunity cost of what you could also have. So if you make 20% on something when you could have made 70, I'm going to make up a number on Nvidia, could be 70%. I'd have to double check.
I know the exact number.
It's just infinitely better. And I think you have to make those sort of decisions. It's the reason why I still own some AMD from I don't even remember how long ago. And I haven't really liked that stock for quite some time, is what it is. Which I like. I haven't said that once today. I feel like I jumped back in. So I guess Nvidia is not going to break 118. They can't seem to get it up. Actually, now it's losing the bid heading into the imbalances. So, look, I wanted this break again. I felt like Nvidia was strong today after it held above 115, and we'd be looking for some long plays. But it just doesn't want to hold this 118 level. As a matter of fact, it's pulling back rather sharply here as the Nasdaq's pulling in. Wow, I mean, Brian Shannon, when you look at those levels, obviously you come in those big anchored VWAPs, and that's where looks like the juice has sort of come out a little bit here. So I don't know if we'll get a shot off the VWAP here, but that'll give us maybe an opportunity for like a flip play, NVIDIA often comes with big imbalances. If it comes sell imbalance, maybe look for it to flip off this 115 half, 116 level. But at this point, I got to wait for the imbalances to come through. Adara?
Keep an eye here on the market in general. Here we have Palantir earnings, but also I wanted to announce we have our brand new TTV research graphic. This is basically visualizing here the companies that were estimated by Omdia to have ordered the most NVIDIA GPUs last year. Of course, I think this is pretty interesting given that market-wide drop that we had last week with fears about Tencent impacting these purchases. So check that out, X at TTV Research. Also, though, I wanted to bring up, because you're just talking about Intel, we have this graphic as well on TTV Research on X. This is Intel's entire run here with regards to quarterly revenue and EPS. During Pat Gelsinger's era, he was only CEO for about 3 years. And I mean, these are pretty rough. At one point here, we had a 36% drop in quarterly revenue and a 109% drop in EPS. And Gelsinger said basically that they delivered, quote, solid first quarter results. So if you want to take a look at this man's entire run as Intel CEO, check it out on X at TTV Research. That is one of our original graphics, making new content for you guys every day. So make sure you hit the like and subscribe and join us every day on the show and on all of our social media. Back to you.
Yeah, there's a completely different side of.
Yeah, so anyways, I was just sort of mentioning to Sean, and obviously the shadow to Pat Gelsinger for destroying value. But we're talking about DeepSeek.
Shout out.
DeepSeek, if you look at one of the trade-offs in terms of, okay, so it performed really well in terms of speed. Everyone likes results. Apparently, it's really cheap, but it was really vulnerable to some of the more obvious ways that you can get around, use interesting prompts to get around some of the obvious security measures, like have it not talk about how to use or make illicit drugs, how to not, you shouldn't be answering how to make a bomb, like the little things like this. And it was essentially failed every single aspect of it, which I still think bodes well for the big boys, because obviously ChatGPT has solved that kind of solution, solved that perplexity. Gemini, they've all been much more effective when it comes to that. Same thing with Alibaba. But a little bit of acceleration to the downside here. So, there's not going to be a breakout. It doesn't seem on NVIDIA yet. I might have to wait for this. I like the level there tomorrow, too. Like, if you hold up here, it can always break out this 118 tomorrow, and we're just not going to get an opportunity to trade it with only about 3 minutes to go till the imbalances are going to come due. Yeah, I can't say that I was bearish at these levels. I was kind of bullish going into this top here on NVIDIA. But we still have VWAP. Maybe we'll get something on the imbalances. It was a 3 mil imbalance on Friday. Easily, if it comes out like maybe 3 or 4 million to sell, that would give you a place to be able to bounce at 355, which would be the look at this point.
All right. Yeah, man. There you go. Green and red. Put a. Yeah, put a green apple if you are green today, and a red apple if you are red today. So I'm gonna go green apple. So here we go, and let's see what wins the day here on. And we could also put up a poll to see what happens there. So we'll go green on the day right there. Yeah, blue apple, says the Chilean Nightmare. So flat on the day would be the blue apple. So short the Qs now. Yeah, I mean that would have been the play, right? We talked about, oh, there we go. Okay, some reds. Yeah, okay, so it's pretty good right there. Green or red. Okay, good. Looks like some good green days. Ooh, I like it. Hey man, look, it is all about being honest. I am very, very happy to see all of these greens because, I can tell you, man, it's definitely not a easy day there. So there you go. Thank you, Ozan. Good job, Ozan. And Ozan, you get this as well, as it seems like there's, I would say, I mean, we probably have one of the best audiences ever here. Thank you so much. I mean, that is a heck of a lot of green, and that makes me feel really, really good. So there we go, man. A green day, and again, that's what matters, right? Is looking down there.
Ooh, I like the maple leaf in there.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I'm liking the green.
I'm gonna copy paste because it is a bit of a pain in the butt to find it. I'm red on momentum. I'm green. I'm green, but that's doing some market making on the side. So I'm red on momentum stocks, but green overall. So I'll put the maple leaf to the red side. Hopefully that actually answered. I liked it was John DiPietro that decided to put some maple leafs in there. Oh, never mind that stock. I was just, some things pop up and I'm like, yeah, just checking to see if there's anything interesting. I saw TCTM sort of pop up there and it's at VWAP, but it's not doing anything. The thing I'm watching is going to be NVIDIA. possibly for an imbalance. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't.
Well, Apple too has good imbalances lately.
Apple, that's true. Apple has been having pretty good imbalances. I think you're nuts if you don't have Palantir. That's not fair. You're not nuts if you don't have Palantir up, but if you want to have Palantir up as well, I wouldn't expect there to be an imbalance, but I think you want to watch that at the close. So I'm going to have NVIDIA, Apple, still have Rigetti up, but it's definitely way too late to try to buy this falling knife in Rigetti. Just to show you what Rigetti's doing.
I got to trade
That's not
Rigetti.
the same. That's not the same kind of dip buy here on Rigetti as you would have been doing a little bit earlier in the move. Definitely distinctly different. Johnny Bravo, shout out to you. Thank you for the super chat in there. Going long Hive at 270 earnings this month. So shout out to you there. Good luck on that Hive trade. Crypto's been great. We held 100,000 today. That's got to be good for a lot of the miners and a lot of the space.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, respect everybody out there. It takes a lot, honestly. And you could see like what Neil just mentioned there. There's one thing about being red on the day and being red in a comfortable space. I mean, when you lose and you're red and it's like a bad red, it can ruin everything. That's not what's happening. I think that's very, very important that we all understand. Like,
well, it almost happened this morning.
It can always almost happen. Okay, here we go.
Here they come.
I looked at actually Rigetti was one of my top
9 million to sell.
Yeah, I have it up right here. So there goes NVIDIA. Whoop.
What the?
Right down there to that downside on NVIDIA. So it's a 9 million sell right there as quotes are going ham. Look at NVIDIA.
What the heck?
Siren.
Look at that level too.
If you're not, that's why, we have it up right here. So if you guys are not hitting the like or the subscribe right now, then honestly, don't leave. I mean, we want to have you here. But like, this is, like, people are always wondering, what was that at the end of the day? We're here showing it to you. Google as well, 1.5M. Nice move to the downside there. We got out of our Google. Winning trade, but at the end of the day, out of it. I just saw, whoopsies, that's not what I was looking for. I just saw IBIT was a sell right there as well. So IBIT, we wound up losing on. So let's just look at that trade. So there was that break. This was a 20-cent hit there on IBIT. So that's going to be our only red mark. We are green today, but it's like a one green day. It's not, well, we're at our goal. So that's the one green day there. So we're at our goal for that. And it just looks like it's NVIDIA right now that is getting taken out a little bit there on that big sell side imbalance there for NVIDIA again. So yeah, 8.5 million to the sell side for NVDA. So here we go again to the downside. But yeah, overall, pretty good there today. We'll look to make some bangers tomorrow. I feel like every day you want to definitely join Neil and I in the morning as we'll go over some plays. I know Joe has some plays he has in the morning time as well. But, the sticky note again has my two biggest trades. We have Tesla on here and we have AMD. That's P&L 1 and 2. Although Google slipped in, but we had sort of talked about that. And that's that. So check them out tomorrow for all of it as the market and NVIDIA continues to go down. But at the end of the day, still bounces off VWAP. Watch out for this, man. 8 million shares to sell at close. If they don't get done, you can't just put 8 million shares into this market. It will really tank the stock. Even though there's size there, it'll force it down. Like, it might just force it down 50 cents, but still not a bad move there coming at the end of the day here on the imbalance locator.
Which, the other thing to note there, I was going to.
Yeah, what do you want to do?
No, just put mine up maybe.
Yep.
This is the first time in like a few weeks where the paired volume is actually the same as the actual imbalance on NVIDIA. Usually, even with a big imbalance, like the paired volume will be like 5 times. So relatively speaking, this is significant. Bitfarm for 7 million to sell. I tried to see if there's maybe something going on with that because none of it is paired off. It's got a 7 million sell. It's done 50 million on the day, but it's only a $1.40 stock. So that's not a lot of notional value. It did a small move in there. I'm not sure. There might be like a flip trade, but if you're doing that, you'd really want to get tight to VWAP by 355 because the reversion would be like 3 or 4 cents. So you'd need to somehow risk only 1 penny. So I don't know that that's worth it. It sets up as the biggest, the second biggest, but that notional value is pretty much nothing. So NVIDIA, obviously, that could be a reversion at 355. I'd like to see the paired volume increase and get over that 10 million mark. And the same way we're trying to get to the 500,000 mark. So
yes, what are we
everybody, 497, 393. So everyone hit that like, hit that subscribe. Remember, it's a subs-only chat. So if you want to be in the chat, if you want to engage, if you want to ask questions, if you want to be in the community, be an active part of the community, then jump in there and hit that like, hit that subscribe today.
I mean, yeah. I'm wearing the Trader TV Live
Like and
hoodie,
subscribe
you know.
today.
Whoever's the 500,000th viewer may or may not get a Trader TV Live hoodie. So considering I don't know really where to get them from, I may have to, maybe I'll take this off my back. And if you visit here, I'll sign it and give it to you. Do I use level 3? I'm not even sure what level 3 is, so I'm gonna say no to that one. So this is
Probably a typo, I'm at level 2, maybe.
Is it, what is level 3 options? Yeah, I do use a level 3 then.
There you go.
No, I don't. Okay, so no, I don't use anything really except for charts and intuition, to be honest with you. Okay, so there's Palantir. I just want to watch that. Neil said I was crazy if I didn't. So, all right, we're going to watch.
That's not what I meant.
I know. All right, so there it goes. There to the upside for Palantir. Again, we're going to be really excited about this because NVIDIA, I saw someone in the chat was really funny, like, oops, did I fat finger 8 million shares into the auction for NVIDIA? Well, you did, and you're going to get filled if you don't cancel that order because right now, over 13 million of them have already been filled, leaving 5 million. Get ready. This is going to flip in 10 seconds potentially. If this disappears, this is a moon up to 118 right now on NVIDIA. So here we go. 3, 2, and 1. Watch out for NVIDIA price. Start to see some levitations right there. There it goes. A little bit to the upside. 70s, 75, 78s. Where did NVIDIA go? It's still there. 135. So it does not get eliminated completely. It just gets a little bit torn down a bit on that. The IBIT sell pressure continues a little bit. So there, that's trying to push down to the downside here. Now remember, pretty important coming into this time because now you're getting closer and closer to 4, where some of the pressure here, if it's not taken off, then you will force the names to move lower. See what happens to Walmart there? Just a little bit of a gap. It's only 10 cents, but it's 640,000 shares are gonna have to hit the market here at close. So be careful here as we are starting to get to the downside. I wouldn't worry about Walmart, but some of these tech names, look at Microsoft with a sell. Whoops, that's $5 from the top down into 4.11, not from the top there, but $3 straight to the downside there. NVIDIA still trying to feel pressure as well. Only 4 minutes to go. All right, Neil, wrap it up and get over to the desk.
Oh my goodness.
Take it in.
Well, that Bitfarm that imbalance on Bitfarm was actually a really good short.
Wow.
It's actually tanking in here. So relatively speaking, it's a $1.50 stock, but that really came in. And as you can see, it stayed, like when Sean was going over, it stayed at 5 million shares to the sell side. So you actually could have played this one to the sell side. That said, it wasn't a huge notional value. And I tried to look, there was no index. It's not going to be in any indexes, so why would there be any index action on it? So I'm going to get up to the desk. We're going to have our good friend, Michael Noss. There we go.
Well, I never heard of him. Michael Noss? Okay.
Michael Noss.
Oh, can't wait to see that.
And of course, Adair and I for Palantir earnings. They're supposed to be at 405. Don't pull a Zuck, Alex. Don't pull a Zuck.
He can pull whatever he wants. I hope he does pull a Zuck. All-time highs? What is pulling a Zuck, anyways?
They didn't report till. They didn't report till 4:37
right, yes,
when it's supposed to be 4:05.
Right, yes.
No, my wife's out of the country. I gotta get it home to my daughter.
Okay. I was thinking that. All right. Yes. Do not.
No,
do not pull a Zuck.
Every other way, pulling a Zuck could be a good thing.
Right. Because I was like, wasn't the meta report like pretty good? It went to the highs. Okay.
Yeah. That's.
We cheer for Palantir to be good, but we do not cheer. It will not be late. I think it'll be early.
No, it'll be right on time.
Bam, I'm going to stay here for that as well. So we're excited for that. 357 and change here. We put on our Palantir hat into the close. NVIDIA does nothing here. I don't see Palantir on here. All of my trades are now finish for the day. Finito. PLTR. Oh boy, getting into the high of the day one more time for Palantir as we get going. Just want to make sure that everyone does hit the like and the subscribe there. 115 for Palantir. Where is your Palantir, guys? Where do you guys think? We used to have that contest with, I forget the company now, where you had to guess the spot for Palantir. I'm going to put mine in. I think if we get that 14 expected percent, that'd be pretty good. So 14% on 83 is about $12 or so, I guess. So that puts us to 95. So I'm gonna go 96.50 somewhere around tomorrow's open for Palantir. So that's my guess there. Put your guess in the chat as well. 96.50 is what I'm thinking about right there. I do not want to open up deleted. So we have 175. Yeah, I mean, it could go the other way too. I mean, this is what's fun about what we're doing. I could look really bad, but at the end of the day, we'll just play it for what it's worth. I want to say a big shout out to this gentleman right here. Thank you so much, Nimrod. Is it Rod or Rude? You tell me. I think it's Rod, R-O-D, right? If it was Rude, maybe you have some 2 O's in there. So we'll say Nimrod, thank you so much. How do I get out of there? 67.50, okay. I mean, that's pretty bad. If we get into the 60s, then I'll feel pretty bad about that play there for Palantir. So again, thank you so much to everybody. And we're about to see right now, we could slip some out on Palantir, but we're still up here. Nice 83 and change on PLTR. I think we maybe will take something out here at the close on Palantir. All right. I'm going to leave you guys, and I'm going to take out 5% of my Palantir position at close. Okay, I'm going to go in there and take off 5% right there before earnings. So you're hearing me say it. As soon as 4 o'clock hits, I'm going to go in there and do it. We don't do it while the show is on. I want to take something off just in case. So Palantir, we are going to be trimming a little bit of that play there. I look back and I'm like, man, I never have enough. Maybe it's because my dreams, I'm always wishing that I had like 10,000 shares of Palantir. That would be really nice. We don't have that many there, but here we go. Counting down with only now 14 seconds left, Miss Adara. Don't worry about it. Now less than 10 as we go. Adara, how's your day been so far? It's a day that's now done. I forget she doesn't have her mic over here. 3, 2, and 1. Or maybe you do. Oh, no, you do have your mic. You do have your mic. Can they hear her when I ask her those questions? I don't know. All right. So, oh, yeah, the closing bell is also sponsored by WorkSport. Sean, stop socializing. Find NASDAQ symbol WKSP. It's WorkSport. Okay, look, we're all waiting for Palantir. I want to thank Bears vs. Bulls, Fabian, Andre, my guy Joe over here, Neil. Big day over there for Neil as well. Thank you to Sharif. Brendo's not here. Anybody I missed, thank you so much. Thanks to Rob for filling up the coffees. But I know all of you want to get over there to the main desk. So this Palantir could drop at any time. So thank you so much for watching. Let's get over. Are they ready, Fabian? All right, then let's go over there so we don't miss it. Good luck to all, and to all a good night.
Thank you very much there, Sean. And obviously, you saw it with the hat. It's going to be the Palantir show. Well, I mean, it's not the only one. It's not the only one reporting, but they're at 4:05 here at Dara, so it's going to be like the big kickoff to a huge earnings week. Obviously, later on in the week, we're going to be able to get Amazon, which I think should be gigantic. We care a lot about them, but for now, it's 4:05 Palantir, 4:10 Clorox, NXPI at 4:10. That could be a little bit of a mover. Just to set the stage. This was another morning, Monday morning, where you come in, everything's gapped down. It's all about the tariffs. It's all about the reaction to the tariffs. And you had the market fading back in. Everyone's all doom and gloom. All the same stuff we've seen on a few Mondays. We dip at the open, and then we immediately rip. We then have a positive meeting between the U.S. and Mexico, which resulted in, I guess, another push to the upside. Allegedly, Adara, Prime Minister, or for now, Trudeau is supposed to be meeting with Trump as we speak. I've heard nothing from that. So if it's happening, who knows? But we keep our ear to the ground.
Neither have I, but I never got the sense it was a public meeting. Like this, to me, I got the vibe it was private, so it's not super shocking. We haven't heard anything yet. But yeah, I think the thing is, too, is Claudia Sheinbaum was very open about her talks with Trump. Yes. We haven't really gotten that from Trudeau, though. Again, these talks, apparently we had some earlier, but the other set of talks began at 3 p.m. Eastern. So again, in my opinion, it's not super shocking that there's no update as of yet. But yeah, I think just to recap, in case anyone missed it, Donald Trump did confirm what Claudia Sheinbaum said earlier today. That is the president of Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum, that Mexico will have its tariffs delayed for 1 month. So the 25% tariffs will be delayed for a month as Mexico and America continue ongoing negotiations. We'll have to wait and see what fate befalls Canada. But these Mexico situations here with the tariffs have been delayed.
Yeah, and you saw a pretty nice rebound on some of the automotive news. They pulled right back, so I mean, GM's still down like 3 points here, but there was a pretty hefty push to the upside when that news hit. Like if you were like myself, shorting off the 47.5 level, well, it worked a couple times, and then news hit, and we talked about this. This is going to be the environment that we're in. It's going to be a news-based, react to the news, and have your stops ready to go. So there's a little bit, okay, it's not out yet, but there's a little bit of movement happening here in Palantir. just breaking toward the 85 zone as we speak. We're not expecting them till 405, but obviously this is the first one to come out for earnings here at Dara. Like the market might have pulled back some of the way, but Palantir pulled back all the way into the upside and already starting to get some volume underneath it. We'll let you know what the numbers are as soon as they do come out. Just a quick note overall in the market, and we mentioned this in the afternoon show. You had both the SPY and the Qs get to some very key anchored VWAP levels that Brian Shannon was able to point out to us. And that was a bit of the resistance that we saw, but some things have been able to blow it out. I think Palantir is a very good example of that in here. Always going to keep an eye on the aftermarket. I mean, NVIDIA would be an example of a stock that got to the top of that 118. You know we like that breakout. Could it have done it? We got 50 pennies on the first one, kind of a lane breakout, and then it just never broke again. NVIDIA down 3 points today. Tesla going to end up in the red. And this is where you got to separate things. We had such a great pullback here at Dara, but the names that stayed underneath the opening range are distinctly different. There was a nice recovery in the market, but if you stayed trending to the downside or did not break out that open top, I think you're in the other category here today. With just less than 1 minute to go on Palantir as we eagerly await Alex Karp and co. The conference call is not till 5, I believe.
Yes.
And the expected move here is going to be 14%. We're expected the implied move. 23. There it goes. We just saw exactly to $90 here. First spike right into $90. I just saw like a bit above the 90.5 level. So it is a upside move. I'm not going to say that they beat, but it certainly looks like a good reaction here. 94, 95, 96 would have been that 14% mark that we're eyeing there. But we got some of the numbers out already, Dara.
Yeah, so they actually do have here 36% year-over-year growth for Q4. And then in general, their U.S. revenue specifically grew by 52% year-over-year. So year-over-year growth for both their revenue as a whole and their U.S. revenue specifically. They did issue their fiscal 2025 guidance expecting 31% year-over-year growth, and this is not my words, it's the company's words, that apparently eviscerates the consensus estimate. So lots of strong words coming here out of PLTR. I'm going to see here. Yeah, so they did okay. I want to see if we had a beat on these quarterly estimates. Yes, we did. So $828 million here for Q4 revenue. That is above estimates of what I'm seeing of $778 million. Let me see if I can find these earnings per share. Yes, so okay, they did. I'm seeing that they missed on EPS because again, sometimes the estimates I see are different. I am seeing estimates of, I'm seeing earnings of 3 cents per share. I was seeing estimates of 10 cents per share. So we'll find out here. And then apparently, if you their adjusted earnings though are 14 cents per share, so that would be above estimates. It's always kind of hard to tell if we're counting adjusted or non-adjusted. But if you're counting adjusted, they did beat estimates, and of course, they did beat estimates on revenue as well. I was also seeing some other numbers circulate in the chat before the earnings were released. Those do not seem to be the numbers that we actually got, so I would be very cautious when seeing these. We'll give you the numbers as we see them. But yeah, so here's PLTR Q4.
It's at 95. You gotta keep in mind. Forget about the EPS for a second, because when you look at that guide, like when you destroy guidance, when the PE is what it is, revenue growth is going to be king. It's like grow into it. So the revenue guidance is the big one in there. And it did go pretty much right into that expected move, into that 95, 96 zone that we have here on PLTR. So it's cresting right at the top of just over the expected move, which is a big sign for it. The first time it came, there was actually resistance the first time it came to the expected move, and it just blew it out the second time through. So looking ridiculously strong. Obviously, there's a little bit of selling coming into it, as you can see here. But I'm surprised that it would have been a miss on the EPS there with this reaction.
On adjusted, they beat.
Oh, so on adjusted
they just missed. I did say that as well. Yeah, they beat on adjusted, but they missed on the non-adjusted like pretty hard. So they reported 3 cents per share, non-adjusted. Analysts were looking for 10 or 11, but the adjusted was 14 cents, so they beat on that. I just like to provide the whole picture so that everybody, because sometimes too, you'll have these situations where you actually kind of don't perform the way that you might be expecting to during the day, and that's because some of these other numbers that we don't talk about as much.
Fair enough, and obviously at the end of the day here, it is going to be a big move to the upside. Looking over some other names after the close, like you're not getting like any AI bleed over that sometimes you might be able to get. When I had said I was going to sell some Snowflake, if Palantir went to the downside, I'm obviously not going to be doing that. But Palantir definitely taking the cake in here. And at the end of the day, like it's growth, growth, growth. That full year revenue number, I mean, that's a pretty hefty, just to reiterate, 3.75 versus 3.5 estimate. You know, when you come out there and you blow out the growth numbers, this is sort of the thing. You're a growth company where it's not necessarily about the current earnings. It is about the future revenues and whether that can continue at a rapid pace, which obviously that's still happening here for Palantir. I just saw in the chat there, Jarrett Miller, ask Katina Man if he got rid of the 10% yet. And he already took off, so I can message him. Obviously, we'll find out that tomorrow, but I think he just took off there. So we'll definitely find that out. I don't remember what price he said he was gonna offer out there. But good move there for PLTR. It's holding out some of the highs, and that expected move of 13.9%. Look at right where it's bull flagging. Pretty much on that line. You can see it's up about 14% here. So the bull flag is pretty much where you would expect it. Keep in mind, this is going to be a blue sky setup for Palantir. So outside of that expected move, you got like $100 that you can pay attention to. You've got prior highs that you can pay attention to. Maybe you slap some Fibonacci's. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people are going to be looking at what the anchored, you're going to anchor to this with an anchored VWAP and then see how that continues through here, Adara, because Palantir has done the right thing. They reported on time, which is more than we could say for Mr. Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
And they've blown it out to the top.
I mean, these are crazy, okay? Like, I'll go over these here. So we did have a above estimates here, Q1 2025 forecast, above estimate, Q1, above estimate, fiscal 2025 forecast as well. So both the quarter and the year guiding above estimates. They had a 52% year-over-year increase in their U.S. revenue segment. Commercial revenue up 64% year-over-year. U.S. government revenue up 45% year-over-year. Their operating profit grew 78% year-over-year. Adjusted EBITDA up 75%. Their 39.6% increase in their adjusted operating margin. So lots of year-over-year increases here. I don't really see any element in which they missed unless you're counting the non-adjusted earnings per share. But yeah, I mean, this is a pretty solid report here. And then Alex Karp also said their business results continue to astound. It's also worth noting Palantir has very much a propensity for large moves. We talked about that expected move. But also, we made a graphic here earlier today. You can check out on X at TTV Research. Palantir really has not had a move less than like 8% to the upside or downside on an earnings report in its history of being a company. So they're really, really prone to huge moves. Be very careful with this name tomorrow.
Well, you also have to remember, like, there's a lot of institutional holders, there's a lot of owners of that stock that are simply not selling it, and that'll limit the amount of shares available out there. Now, there was a spike up on SMCI at the same moment that Palantir came out, and just to reiterate for a bunch of people in the chat asking why is SMCI moving and when are they reporting, there has been no confirmed date for SMCI as to when they will report. Now, even here, like on the Trade Ideas is gonna, it even says tomorrow pre-market, there's nothing confirmed for when they're gonna report. It looks like a bit of a sympathy move here for SMCI, then pulling right back in. The story is just gonna be Palantir. I saw nothing really move significantly on sympathy with them. So it's really just all about PLTR. It's the growth. The growth is gonna be the story here. The opportunity to have, when you look at the 50 or the 200 period, in this particular case, you can look at the 200 period moving average because objects in the rearview mirror do not, in this case, appear closer than they really are. This would have to do something ridiculous to get to the 200 period, but that 50 period has been a good buy for Palantir, just sort of going all the way back to late or mid to late last year, and another blow. And that's the other thing Adara just mentioned. You have to know the tone of a stock. Like, what kind of a stock is it on earnings? This is certainly one that is never, at least recently, and from what we know of it, it's not going to be a light mover. We expect that big volatility. Until it stops doing this, you almost have to anticipate it, and the trend is your friend to the end when it bends. This was a good number, no question about it, on the growth, and with that EPS beat there. So shout out to Palantir. Can't seem to get to that. I keep pulling back to it, and it just can't seem to really do much above the 95, 96 yet, although there's some buying coming into it to take a run at that $100 level. Because as we said, unless you are some kind of a Fibonacci's or whatever technical you might use that might allow you to find some levels up here, blue sky setup means to me I think the $100 level is the one to watch. It's a big psychological level. I think that's what we should be paying attention to. Raider Trader in the house as well. What up, Raider? I know everything is all good, but NXPI, Adara, is a little mixed right now.
We got Clorox too, but I'll start with NXPI here. Adjusted earnings of 3.18 cents per share above estimates of 3.14, and then sales of 3.111 billion above estimates of 3.104 billion. So they beat on EPS and they beat on sales. I'm not seeing any other aspect of their reports right now. Then also here we got CLX. I'll pull up CLX here for you. That would be Clorox. And I mean, you know, there's been a pretty clean report there. I think you'd want to like bleach away, that's for sure. Adjusted earnings of 155 per share, above estimates of 141. Sales of 1.69 billion, above estimates of 1.63 billion. And then here, okay, they're expecting their fiscal 2025 guidance a bit mixed here. So they are seeing, they're actually raising here. They're to some aspect of their guidance. So 695 to 735, they're now seeing earnings per share. That is above estimates of 684 and their previous guidance. But they are seeing net sales that are either going to drop 1% or increase by 2% for the year. That is all our major earnings reports. If anyone has any specific earnings-related questions or questions for me, tag me in the chat. I'll do my very best.
And thank you very much, sir. It looks like Clorox is wiping away the offer as we speak, holding above the 50-period moving average. Obviously you had the A+ pun. I'll give myself a solid C- on that. But Clorox, not going to be a gigantic mover, but the chart looks a heck of a lot better than I was anticipating when I pulled this one up. So very good look for them. But let's be real. They're still trying to get to 100. Can you just do it already? There's a line from one of the traders on the show back in the day. Shout out to you, Luca. We didn't come all this way not to get all the way to that $100 level. Just a bit of a tease. But whether it does it in the aftermarket today or tomorrow or next week, kind of irrelevant when you look at the long-term aspect of things. So obviously a bit of a nice move there for Palantir, regardless of whether it gets to 100. Again, the adjusted EPS beating 11 versus 8, but there was that massive revenue guidance, forward guidance that looks really good for Palantir. The full year 2025 came in 375 versus 35. And looking at the midpoint of that range, 3.75 billion versus 3.5 billion. So when you're beating on guidance and you're a growth stock, this is what's going to happen. And I know somebody that is always beating on the expected knowledge dropped every single time we have him on, and that's why we do Trader Talk for our main man, the Nosbox. Michael, pleasure to have you once again. Michael Noss, our favorite CMT in here from Stats Edge. It feels like absolutely forever that we've been able to talk to you. I feel like we have a ton to be able to catch up on here because, I don't know, like it's been a hot minute. We're just glad to see you again, Michael.
Yeah, this morning and then again on yesterday. But with this market action, every day feels like 100 years, but in a good way in most cases anyway.
No, that's 1,000% true. I mean, the volatility is going to provide you with so many opportunities, and that you've got this year, and we've talked about this before, we sort of saying you just had two back-to-back 20% years for the market, 20% years for the market to the upside. So you usually get that little bit of a choppy market, but that doesn't mean there's not performance. It just means the way in which it performs is not that straight rocket ship to the upside, and you have to be able to adjust. And then what did we see again today? Another mean reversion day, Michael.
Yeah, and it was great. You know, as someone who trades systems and has mean reverting systems, there was a bunch fired off in the open. It gets a little bit hard, especially with all the news cycle, to kind of hold your nose and buy, but we did, and the Dow was green for a minute there. I think the SPY was also green for a minute as well. So it just goes to show you that, yes, we are in a high volatility market. I came on this morning and talked about tariffs and how we've seen this game before, and it's tariffs that come and they go, and it looks like we've already gotten rid of some of them. But yeah, we're just in that other high volatility game again. Got to change the way you trade a little bit, but these are so much fun. When do you normally see moves like this in the SPY? And we've seen, I think, 3 already this year.
Yeah, I think it's pretty uncanny. Like we've already had 2 Mondays where it's the whole doom and gloom panic Monday, and then you get that it was a little bit, it wasn't as organized buying off of the open as it's been the previous time we had a day like today. But there's one thing you made a point of in terms of looking for those reversion plays. You got to keep your ear to the ground on news. Yep. I was actually, when I came back on at 12, I was even mentioning to people, like I was shorting the same level on GM twice at the 47.5, and it was great. But then the second there was that Mexico headline, that's a case where as it went into the money, I didn't move my trailing stop down, and it ended up breaking out the top in an absolute heartbeat. That's the other side of this market. You have to be able to adjust where your stop orders are going to be. And ultimately, like GM was my best stock, but it's like it should have been, 3x. But because I didn't make the adjustment with that stop order to trail it, that's what you're going to have to do, because we are going to be going from headline to headline. It's not a bad thing. It gives us volatility, but you got to be prepared for it.
Yeah, and you hit the nail on the head there. These are going to be crazy in both directions. So using things like automated stops and everything will certainly make a lot of sense. But you just gotta, every time you get whipped out for a loss, you've also gotta understand that you have that possibility of getting kind of wicked in for a gain. So I expect a long time of this anyway. We have the trade wars going on now. Last time with China, they came and went, and then we had interest rate battles. There was always something. So if we're going to be anything like the last time we had the same administration, then at the very least there's going to be action as traders. As long as we have a plan around that action, a plan to get in, a plan to get out, then it's fantastic for us. The only people that it's bad for are people who just want to buy and hold. They may have a little bit of a frustrating time, or people that go in without a plan of attack and without some kind of automated stop, like you were mentioning on your GM trade. There's people out there that would have got blown out, and that would have been a horrible time. Instead of being able to play the volatility, they had the volatility kind of play them.
Yeah, and to your point, and credit to you, because you talk about the systems for an individual trader, like you can have your stops out there and monitor a couple of different stocks. I would imagine when you've got a system which is very, what's the word I want to use, cut and dry, black and white, binary in terms of your decision-making process, it can make for a little bit of a, maybe boring can be good when it's that, but winners are never boring. I got to ask you about Bitcoin here. Yep. Because we're right back at that 100 level. And there's something that you said, and this is, I know we're talking about the market, maybe giving a little bit of choppy action, but you've been saying this about Bitcoin, and it's almost like a prophecy. We had another liquidation event over the weekend, and it bounced exactly where you would expect it to. Mm-hmm. The best trade, bar none, has been to just simply sit on the bid around 92 on Bitcoin and just let it dump into you. Recently. Obviously, that's a good one. Has there been anything like that you've seen in maybe some of the alts? Are there any levels that set up just as ridiculously good? What's your take on this floor that just seems to hold?
Again, when it comes to alts, I think we got to look at Ethereum, but we'll take a look at Bitcoin first just to show this box I've drawn out ever since this low that happened way back here, and then this high, and then ever since then it's just been holding perfectly. But yeah, it came right back to where you would expect. Bitcoin is one of those things that just trades so technically sound because there's never going to be any news in Bitcoin anymore, right? The ETFs are approved, the banking system's okay with it. It's really just more like a gold or something at this point, where it's just very, very technically driven. And yeah, we went right to the point, and then we have kind of completely rallied. I was looking at the Bitcoin liquidations on my other screen, and the cool thing about it is you can track all of them. You know exactly where certain participants have come into the market and what price and all of that, because it's all on chain. And yes, there was millions of dollars liquidated through this, just to show leverage can be problematic. But if we go over to Ethereum, this is still relatively weak. And if you look at this candle, it looks much, much worse than it does with Bitcoin. So the reason I use Ethereum for my altcoins is where most altcoins are built. And then Solana is where a lot of these meme coins are built. So this is kind of a broken chart to me until and unless we can get back over 3,000. That's my kind of line in the sand on Ethereum. I was hoping we would break this downtrend line to the upside, which would make some of these more useful, I guess, altcoins a little bit strong. However, right, it just broke and it's not able to get back. But kind of from the meme coin front on Solana, You can see another kind of Bitcoin looking candle where it was able to turn green on the day, and the bottoming tail didn't violate any support the way that did. So looks like we're still in this market where it's Bitcoin, these crazy meme coins, and pretty much nothing else in the crypto space.
Yeah, great look there, Michael. Very quickly, we're going to jump to Adair. Looks like we got some headlines with regards to tariffs. So I want to make sure we get that for our viewers here.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, we do. We have a CNN reporter here basically saying on X that Donald Trump has said that the call with Trudeau went, quote, very well. And then apparently when people asked what's going on with tariffs here, Trump said to watch. So we don't actually know what's going on with tariffs other than the fact that apparently he told a CNN reporter that his talk with Trudeau went well. So I don't know what the watch means. Apparently that was with regards to whether they'll come into effect tonight. I guess we'll find out tonight or tomorrow, or we won't find out. Depends on what happens. But apparently we have to watch with regards to what happens with tariffs, guys. Back to you, or you guys.
Thank you so much there, Adair. So, I mean, I went over to see if GM was actually moving on that. It doesn't seem to be, but we talk about being headline-driven. Well, that's 100% true. So I wanted to make sure that there wasn't anything too crazy going on there. I love the fact that you pointed out, the thing that you pointed out there on ETH and versus Solana, because today is exactly the kind of day where when you get those reversions, when you get those bounces, divide things into your buckets. Mm-hmm. What's relatively strong, what's relatively weak. You can want Ethereum to have held, you know, all that kind of good stuff. But ultimately, either the bid came in alongside Bitcoin or it did not. And I think if you're, you know, when in this type of a market, I come in every single day and throw things into buckets like that. Like, I like these things long, I like these things short. And one way or another, whether it works or not, at least I have a plan of action or a plan of attack to give me a bit of a bias for those types of stocks. Because in this type of choppy market, you're going to want that. I got to ask you this, because when I see something like this for Palantir, I know you're a systemized trader. And anyone watching right now is, you know, seeing this sort of rocket ship, big blowout off of earnings. I know this isn't necessarily the kind of thing that you usually trade, but it is an unbelievable rocket to the upside, and it's past the expected move, which is something that we know can blow a lot of people. Not that there's a ton of shorts in this, but can definitely catch a lot of people off guard when you are now past the move. Mm-hmm. Is there anything that you have for like these, like breakout setups haven't necessarily been the cat's meow, for lack of a lazy term, but when you see something like this, do you want to be active trading this, or is this something like you need it to calm down for a couple of days? I feel like as a day trader, we can go any direction, so it's easy for us to say, well, I'll just trade Palantir and be willing to join whatever it does tomorrow. But as a swing trade, what do you do with something when it's this insane?
Nothing. So this is one of those things that you have to already be in, or again, give it a couple days, give it a pullback to a prior support, give it a chop sideways. I've got some systems that look for things to pull back into gaps. One thing I did want to do on Palantir, and this is something that I actually picked up when I was hanging out with some of the great technicians in New York and JC and all those guys. And I asked a simple question, because it's part of a problem. I said, stock hits new all-time highs. As technicians, we're just we have no idea. There's nothing to play off. There's no prior price action. And what we're trying to do as technicians is look at where prices reacted to something in the past and extrapolate that in the future. And one thing I'm going to test a lot more, but was kind of a consensus, a lot of some of these old head technicians that have been doing this for a long time, is looking for Fibonacci extensions. So we all know with the Fibonacci retracement, you find a move, and if it retraces 61.8% or so in that move, generally speaking, that could be a place that you start to look to nibble. So they extended that and said, okay, so here is the Palantir extension from the last pullback, and that gets us around $97 or so. So it looks like, if I put on the current candle, we are right there right now. So the idea with Palantir, if we're looking a little bit more discretionary, is would be the kind of target from that technical standpoint of the initial move, basically the move plus a little bit. And yeah, we're right there right now. So I'd be very interested to see where this opens tomorrow. And then one of those, which type of gap is it? Is it a breakout gap, a continuation gap, or is it that kind of exhaustion gap? Now, looking at this chart, you zoom out on Palantir for any length of time. That's a great looking chart. That's exactly what you want to see. So I wouldn't be betting for a top here. But if we get some resting for, a week or so, some sort of a pullback into this 85 level or something, those are the areas that I would start to keep an eye on this.
About that is that the sort of sense of community in there. I know you were just at a conference, able to talk to a lot of charting technicians and questioning, hey, well, we don't necessarily have a great grasp on this. What can we look at? And then crowdsourcing it. That's what this community is all about. That's why we bring you on here, Michael, to get insight exactly like that. Even when I put you on the spot, knowing that you're not looking at Palantir, because I knew you weren't looking at Palantir, but I was asking you anyways. You're coming with the straight goods, as always. Everybody, check out Michael, Stats Edge. And of course, it's not like we get to talk to him very often.
So, I'll see you Friday.
we'll see him on Friday. But everyone, give a shout out and a big thanks to Michael. Appreciate you so much. Can't wait to talk to you again.
Thanks for having me, and I'll chat to you soon.
All right, take care, Michael. Thank you so much to Michael. And it took me a second to realize, Nimrod, what you were getting at here with the Super Chats, but we managed to figure it out. Nimrod with 4 Super Chats. It was the order in which they came in. R, thank you, Nimrod. T, L, P. It's going to be the other way around there, my friend. PLTR up 20% now at $99.48. So it's almost as if your Super Chats, and we appreciate them so much, have willed this thing to the $100 level. Oh, of course, the second it sees 100, it just backs off a little tiny. You can barely see it on the chart up there, but it did just back off a few pennies. Now back at 99 even or so. But I just almost got to the $100 level. It's been all upside here. Call it a squeeze, call it whatever you want. But at the end of the day, revenue growth was fantastic. The guide was fantastic as well. So another big, massive move in Palantir. Your dreams have definitely come true on this one. But you know what time it is? It's 4:30. It's been a fun one. Palantir's done what they were supposed to do and what everyone was hoping they would do, and the expectations were exceeded. But you know what? I feel like you guys have exceeded expectations and the support that you've given us. So I want to give a big thank you first before we do roll call to all of our viewers. But if you want to get into the roll call, remember, if you haven't done so, hit the like and the subscribe. Get us to that 500,000 so we can all celebrate together, so we can grow this fantastic trading community. And a big shout out to all of our entire team, Joey Options and Sharif on the midday, Fabian, Ramin, Andre on the 1s and 2s, the Darren Brennan on the death, my man Sean in the Palantir hat all day long, knocking it out of the park. And a big shout out to both Michael and Bears versus Bulls, the best moderator in the business. So you know what you got to do here. Put in some thanks. Throw up some ones, type Palantir in the chat, whatever you want. Say thank you to Bears versus Bulls. Say thank you to Palantir, and let's get some roll call action.
Thank you very much to everyone for being in here, everyone who is here, everyone who's not here, everyone who's part of this community. Make sure to like, subscribe, and join us every single day. And also, in case you missed it, guys, there was news. Basically, Donald Trump reportedly, according to a CNN reporter, said that the talk with Trudeau went well. And then when asked, hey, will we still have tariffs tonight, he said, watch. So who knows what that means? We'll find out. Thank you very much to Bears versus Bulls. Thank you to Neil, Sean, Brendan, Sharif, Joe, Fabian, Ramin, Andre. I feel like I'm missing someone, but shout out to everyone. Jeremy Newman, Shredman59, TH, Grov. We have Aaron, Nicole, Eco Steve, Pedro Khan, Mad Wordle, Joseph Brown, Ostentatious Production, Silverado Blue, Charles, The Practical Prophet, The Piper, Baron Kia, 2000 Hookup, Helgi, S, Moose Cab, Pitchbull, Elstam. We've got Eco Steve again. We've got Pitchbull. We have Bebot 5000, Marcel Home, Crayon Trader, Jimmy Doe Smith, Raul. We've got Walt Winchell. We have Stuart. We have John Von Sowers, Victor McDonald, Tim Snyder, Joe Knott, 907 Warrior, Damon Tarza, Drops, Trades, and Celery 2 and Escape Planet. We'll end with that. Thank you very much to everyone for being in here, having a great time every single day. And there's even more tomorrow. So make sure you check it out.
That is the best part about it, Adara. It is a big earnings week, and we're just getting it started. You've got major earnings all week, every single day. It's going to be banger after banger after banger after banger for the whole week. Some Lambo ideas out there, even though I don't love the teal. That is a Lambo for you. So as we always say, rest up, enjoy yourself, but come right back here at 8:30 tomorrow morning because we're Trader TV Live, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.
See ya.